That's where I am. Well, our show this morning officially kicks in then. All right, let's jump into the newspapers this morning, which are going to form the back end of a conversation. And we're going to look at essentially the big stories, which we're also going to discuss with a political analyst, Castro, who's walking into the studio shortly. And if we look at a majority of the stories right here on the Daily Nation, this is what they're saying. 100 million shillings down of cash to cover allowances, travel and accommodation. It's a costly affair. When the Kenya Kwanza and Azimio la Umoja bipartisan talk started, National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah rejected a proposal to hold the talks at a 5-star hotel, as he insisted on the need to cut costs. But an ironical twist, the nation can now reveal that the team is seeking 106 million shillings for the 60-day talks, with a big chunk earmarked for allowances. By the way, we're going to look at the details this morning. On what essentially is gonna be like the media. For any other journalist who's gonna cover that, I'm touching on this because I'm a journalist myself. So I do not know whether our editor Joab, good morning, you should assign me this story, because for every day that a media person goes on to cover the bipartisan talks, you get 2,500 shillings. Times 11 days. So for any other journalist who wants to get 22,000, almost actually 27,000 then, for the 11 days that you're going to cover that, please get assigned right now and go demand this money. Yeah. Number of days that you're supposed to cover this is 11. And if you look at it, the quantity is 20, so 20 journalists are going to get paid this much. The total cost is 220,000. That is the amount of money that the journalists who go to cover these stories at the Bomas of Kenya are going to get. So this is a call to our news editor, Job. Please, assign me. I've officially declared on air. It's 22,000. That would be good money for Christmas, isn't it? Yeah, good. Other areas, we're going to look at them this morning. Another story that it's a big story. It's how now farms have paid the price for using clients' photos without permission. A city club, a school, and a digital loans company are the ones that have been essentially put on the spot for that. That story is on page 3. Nanok is on the spot for 5 billion shillings, ghost pending bills. That particular story covered on page 21. And the starlets, Harambe, all right, where the boys couldn't do it, the ladies are doing it, because yesterday they beat Cameroon, all right, sinking them to 4-3 on penalties at Nyayo Stadium yesterday. That particular story covered on page 39. And maize prices drop as farmers rush to harvest ahead of rains. That story has been covered on the back page of the Daily Nation. All right. The Standard this morning. RUTO Raila road to referendum, and we've spoken about this on the morning drift right here in our conversations. And we did say the majority of those clauses, whatever it is that they're talking about, is essentially going to push the country into a referendum. That particular story covered on pages 2 and 3. So the real question is the country ready to go back to a referendum, and how much money is it going to cost the country or the economy then in general to go to a referendum? 2 and 3, that is pages. And counties are stuck with 165 billion shillings in pending bills, and pain at the shilling is now aging closer to 160 shillings to the dollar. Oof. It's getting a beating. So for those who are getting paid in dollars in the country, this Christmas, all bills on you, please, because death from around 120 shillings, 118 at the beginning of the year, to where we are right now, 160. All right, that story on how starlets trump at the Nyayo Stadium has been covered on page 48 as well. Now, that is your look this morning in terms of your newspapers. Majority of these discussions are going to follow next as we then get into a big conversation right here on The Morning Drift, online at Lookuptv, across all your social media platforms. I am Kiage Simba on X. Let's get talking. For now, let me take you straight to the newsroom where we get to see some of the biggest stories that you're waking up to this morning, shall we? All right, welcome back. Now, former Mama Lucy hospital worker Fred Leopard is staring at a sentence of more than 30 years after being convicted with the offense of children trafficking. During the accused mitigation on Tuesday, Martina Swiga requested the Milimani Senior Principal Magistrate Esther Kimelu to be lenient, for he is a family man with the children and a breadwinner, having lost his father at a tender age. Swiga further added that if the accused is given a non-custodial sentence, he will be able to reflect on his mistakes and be able to stand back in the society and support his family.
The factors I would wish this court to consider in terms of the sentencing is in light of the essence of the criminal justice system, which aims to rehabilitate the offender, especially seeing that he's a first-time offender, and also on restorative justice. Your Honor, the convict that is before you is a family man with young children depending on him. And over and above the fact that he is a father and the breadwinner, Your Honor, he also caters to his extended family, since he lost his father at a very tender age of 16 years. Your Honor, the convict before you is also in his prime years. He's only 31 years old, which I believe is a prime age. And giving him a non-custodial sentence will enable him to reflect upon the just concluded trial and the gravity of this trial, so that he can be able to carry on in the provision and support of his children and his extended family.
Well, let's move on. The Kenya Medical Supplies Authority Board had a hard time explaining why the authority bought parcels of land without proper documentation, as pointed out by the Auditor General. The report also indicated that despite KEMSA purchasing motor vehicles to be used in the purchases, they could not be completely accounted for.
Get one document out after the other.
Acting KEMSA CEO Andrew Mulwa and his team appeared before the Public Investment Committee for grilling in regards to the Auditor General's report of the year 2018-2019 that questioned KEMSA on land property and vehicle acquired without securing the necessary documentations. Auditor General seeking clarification why the KEMSA board purchased the vehicles, yet they were still under the ownership of the government.
The balance includes 4 motor vehicles with a net book value of Kenya shillings 2,574,000, whose ownership documents such as logbooks were not available for audit review. Available information indicates that these vehicles are owned by the national government and have not been officially transferred to the authority.
The auditor's report additionally raising queries on why KEMSA does not hold title deeds for several pieces of land acquired.
As previously reported, the balance includes land at a cost of Kenya shillings 1,786,967,270, which includes various parcels of land spread across the country, all valued at Kenya shillings 158 million, whose ownership documents were not availed, while other parcels of land had not been valued.
In his defense, KEMSA acting CEO Andrew Mulwa, while in agreement with the report by the Auditor General, insists the vehicles in question are in the process of being transferred to the board, while it has already obtained title deeds for several pieces of land, with only a few still going through the property transfer process.
KEMSA has received copies of logbooks and will continue to follow up with the transfer of ownership of the motor vehicles. Chair, current status, KEMSA is still awaiting transfer of the remaining motor vehicles from the Ministry of Health.
The new boss tasked with the responsibility of bringing sanity at the controversy-laden KEMSA says he will not rest until that time when there is order at the authority.
We are like restarting afresh, rebooting the organization. So, Chair, you expect some transitional gaps, which is what, Chair, I would attribute to the issues that we are facing, and not really the capacity challenge, Chair, but we recognize that we have to do so many things at the same time, still remain focused on our core mandate of provision of medicines to our facilities.
But with several bosses before him bundled out of office due to corruption, all eyes are firmly fixed on him to see how he will steady operations at KEMSA. Henry Tende, Lookuptv.
The bipartisan talks entered day 23 at the Bomas of Kenya, with various representatives of invited groups submitting their memoranda. On Tuesday, it was the turn of the Law Society of Kenya to grace the committee with its president, Eric Theuri, whom through his representation revealed the need, therefore, to have a judiciary fund directly charged to the consolidated funds supporting the creation of offices of the opposition leader. However, Theuri insisted that the Prime Cabinet Secretary, which he says the holder of the office remains a cabinet secretary in the ruling government, so as to avoid ballooned wage bill at the expense of the taxpayer.
The national dialogue continued on Tuesday with key issues surrounding restructuring of IEBC, the cost of living and observation of the 2/3 gender rule. The invited mensing no words. LSK President Eric Theuri noted that the need to put in place mechanism to contain electoral injustices, citing Articles 43 and 205 of the Constitution to address the issue of increased levies and taxation, which he asserts cannot spur development, insisting that the disposable income left to common mwananchi has shrunk at the expense of the high taxation.
One of the things we can look at is it time to amend the Constitution so that the elections are not held at the same time.
Theuri endorsed creation of 2 offices of the opposition leader, however says the Prime Cabinet Secretary office remains a cabinet secretary to be appointed by the ruling government to avoid ballooned wage bill at the expense of the taxpayer, with reservations on separating the boundaries role from the commission, which he says there will be conflict of interest.
Again, very legitimate. About 49 or 48% of the country has voted for you, yet you cannot be able or be in a position to dictate or to challenge government policy and build yourself up in terms of your status leadership. That is something that...
Others who appeared before the NADCO included the election observers, ILOG, reiterating for the IEBC to speak in unison, unlike in the 2022 general election, with Regina Malombe, the chair of Institute of Certified Public Accounts of the Kenya ICPAK, concurring on the need to amend the process of the hiring IEBC chair to other professionals and not a judicial role as it is currently.
As I believe had we had such a member in the last election, there were issues about particular ratios that would have been sorted promptly and on time. We are also submitting that that commission as it is, its term comes to an end at a particular time. And therefore there is lack of succession planning in that commission. And therefore our submission is that we have staggered appointments.
That the 1/3 rule is implemented fully. Be a strong function, will never perform its function on audit until it has sufficient technical capacity on audit. The strength of the Auditor General as well. We propose a ring fencing of the budget for the Auditor General so that 0.3% of the budget is also allocated to the Auditor General, not only to post-mortem, because that's what the Auditor General is doing, but also to monitor how resources are spent in this country.
KNCC President RUTO has called on the government to adopt the KNCC Bill to help small and medium enterprises create jobs and enable the flourishment of the economy.
Prosperity, and we will see in future, because what usually fuels down the demonstrations is the unemployed youth and lack of livelihood that we have.
Ongoing national dialogues at the Bomas of Kenya, today being an opportunity by the LSK, the Elections Observers ILOG, and the business community KNCC, whom together have agreed that the restructuring process of the IEBC should have already kicked off. KNCC now says they need to be included in the restructuring process. Eric Theure, LSK president, now proposes that the judiciary be included or be funded under the consolidated fund. Stanley Lugaria, Lookuptv at the Bomas of Kenya.
So somebody asked online if Lugaria decided to do that particular PDC with his Mercedes-Benz E-Class 2013 parked behind him. You have to ask him. I wasn't there. All right, let's continue. The motion to impeach Nyamira County Governor Amos Nyaribo was tabled in the County Assembly despite opposition from Governor Nyaribo's supporters who attempted to block the gates leading to the County Assembly. At least 28 members of the County Assembly want Governor Amos Nyaribo impeached on grounds of embezzlement of county funds and misuse of office. Let's take a look.
The plot thickens for Governor Amos Nyaribo as Nyamira County Assembly members successfully presented a motion in Parliament to impeach him from office.
A notice of motion to consider, debate and approve a motion for removal of the Governor, His Excellency Amos Nyaribo, from office of County Governor, Nyamira County, pursuant to Article 181, 1A, B, and C of the Constitution of Kenya, 2010, Section 33 of the County Government Act.
The MCAs are determined to remove the governor from office, citing allegations of abuse of power, corruption, among other claims. It is also reported that Governor Nyaribo's decision to dismiss the Health Minister, Timothy Ombati, over alleged mishandling of funds meant for purchasing hospital drugs has sparked a dispute between him and the County Assemblyman.
The Constitution demands, we've done our bit as MCAs. We've tabled the motion before the County Assembly. And now the document that details all the grounds for the impeachment is a public document now. Any one of you can obtain a copy from the County Assembly. Any member of the public who wants to see what the grounds we've put in that document can have access and have a look at it. You interrogate it also.
Already 28 out of 34 MCAs have shown no confidence in Governor Nyaribo, appending their signatures for the motion, citing what they claim to be misuse of office. Governor Amos Nyaribo is expected to know his fate next week when the County Assembly convenes for another session. Bridget Agola, Lookuptv.
Let's move on to our next story where Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has urged Homa Bay Member of Parliament Peter Kaluma and his Mbeere counterpart Geoffrey Ruku to retract bills they have introduced in Parliament which aim to amend the anti-corruption and economic crimes legislation. Mudavadi was speaking during the launch of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Strategic Plan 2023-2028 at the Kenyatta International Convention Center.
Prime CS Musalia Mudavadi is urging MPs Peter Kaluma and Geoffrey Ruku to retract bills that they have introduced in Parliament, which aim to amend anti-corruption and economic crimes legislation. Speaking on Tuesday during the launch of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission's 5-year strategic plan for the 2023-2028 period, Mudavadi labelled the bills as regressive, adding that they have the potential to reverse the progress achieved in the fight against corruption.
Let me also highlight that there are 2 bills currently before the National Assembly which raise significant concerns in the ongoing battle against corruption. Both of those bills are titled the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Amendment Bill 2023. If these proposed amendments are accepted, they will open the door for individuals with corruption histories to hold public office and offer significant leniency to those inclined toward corrupt practices within the public sector. This is not to say I do not respect the independence of our government's branches. I recognize the substantial interdependence among them. Therefore, I kindly request the 2 members of Parliament to consider withdrawing their bills. We must remember that we can only defeat corruption if we stand together in unity of purpose and effort.
The first bill, sponsored by Mbeere North MP, seeks to substitute criminal prosecution for corruption offences arising from procurement flows with administrative sanctions, while the second bill, sponsored by Homa Bay MP Peter Kaluma, seeks to repeal the legal provision that prohibits corruption convicts from being appointed to public office. According to EACC, both bills are inimical to the public interest and should be withdrawn from the National Assembly. The anti-graft body says it will be a tragic, monumental step backward to enact the amendments as proposed in the bills.
Impunity are men and women who have been given positions of authority, of power, of leadership to help guide this nation to the place where it will deliver for the people of this nation. But instead of doing that, they use that power, that authority, that space to steal the resources with wanton abandon, believing or knowing that there is nothing you can do to them.
At a national level, in strategic level, let us look at the fight against corruption in the 3 main aspects, which I keep on talking about. It may not be in my speech, but I really emphasize that if we want to counter this monster called corruption, there are 3 main pillars. The political culture of this country must change.
The Prime CS likewise called on Parliament to expedite the passage of the Conflict of Interest Bill 2023 that was approved by the Cabinet in February, emphasizing that it will play a significant role in curbing corruption. Brana Mwai, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Trade Industry and Cooperative Committee says KRA still stand accountable for the release of the consignment of 20,000 tons of poisonous sugar imported into the country in 2018 by Merako Investments Limited from Harare, Zimbabwe, but condemned by the Kenya Bureau of Standards. KRA, represented by Faith Karu, failed to give clear responses on critical issues pertaining the release of the letter, or the release letter, break of the go down at Makongeni Thika, and existence of KRA seals on the locks of the go down.
KRA officials had a hard time before the Trade and Cooperative Committee trying to respond to issues pertaining the release of 20,000 bags condemned sugar weighing 50 kgs each. The contradiction in their responses given by the officials made the committee raise more concerns in regard to the involvement of the authority in the scandal.
You are a doctor. If you just tell them, take this dose because she's paying, you are getting the money. That tells me that that tells the committee you are involved and you are accountable based on the letter that we released, knowing that that person not fit for that business. Mr. General of DCI,
that the distillation process, which was a sensitive process, proceeds even as he continues to settle his tax matters. Begs to call Honorable Chair that when Vine Park Limited would have been prepared for the distillation process, our officers were ready to go and open the facility, break the seal in the presence of the multi-agency team to allow him to conduct the distillation process.
Puzzle that saw over 27 people suspended raised questions of what was the essence of the release letter sent by Kiage a month prior to the initial commence of distillation process, and why was the letter delivered by an unauthorized person who is said to have sealed the empty cargoes at the godown.
That bill to be paid before opening of the warehouse, she decided to make a release letter, giving a window of 30 days so that the sugar can have now been disappeared.
Yes, Chair.
That was mentioned.
Faith, what the Chair is saying, you are accountable as...
There was no bill or there were not other charges, but she failed to ignore that. The same report that they gave, they indicated clearly that Vine Park is not suitable to turn this process of sugar into ethanol. She ignored it.
Did someone sleep on their job, or could they have sacrificed someone's job? According to Faith Kara, the demand letter was delivered in the afternoon, contrary to Derek's submission that he was instructed to deliver in the morning. The signature, according to Mr. Mwangi, the managing director of Vine Park, was forced, and the committee further inquired to know the procedure of delivering a letter based on the submission of Mr. Mwangi that he did not receive the letter, as stated by Ms. Kara.
You just decide to sacrifice him because you've not even given us reasons why you had to make him give all his reports to the DCI, no asking questions, na mumeharakisha na mumeenda huko. I put it, if this was genuine, you would have taken the entire team because he was not doing the investigations alone. Why you decided to just sacrifice him leaves a lot to be desired. And it is so wrong because currently he's suspended. And I keep asking you, gentlemen and ladies, are you aware there are people who are very innocent? You just want them to lose their jobs because of trying to make whatever you want to make with these kind of deals?
The authority will reappear before the committee on the 17th of October 2023 as Kiage officials before the Trade and Cooperative Committee. Mevin Getembe, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Can I tell you this? We're still looking at that document of how the bipartisan committee at the Bomas of Kenya is going to use that money. Again, this is my second appeal to our chief editor, Job Maura. I really need to be at the Bomas of Kenya as from tomorrow. There are 11 days that are going to be very important. There are already 23. There was 60 days, 37 days left. So next month, before the end of this year, I think I won't be doing the morning drift. I will be at the Bomas of Kenya, receiving that 2,500 shillings per day for 11 days. That will be around 27,000 shillings in my pocket. Christmas done. As it officially, we're going to get somebody who's going to come in and do morning drift. Again, there is also a place. I'm asking media houses to also be part of it. There is 300,000 shillings for media and publicity. I do not know how that is different from the first one for the media, which is way different. Number 8 is talking about media and publicity. They've awarded 300,000 shillings. So again, if in any way the company figures how we're going to get the money, I also want to be part of it. Thank you very much. That's my declaration, guys. It's good money. It's 106 million shillings, 126,580 shillings to be precise. I want part of this. Kwa sababu mimi ni Mkenya. Kama Wakenya wengine, si ndio? So for those guys who've been complaining that sometimes I drift kidogo, naanza kuongea vitu zangu, pia leo asubuhi let me drift kidogo. Wana kuna chai hapa bwana. Kama wananunua chai, mbona usitukunywe chai? Si ndio? Logaria, you're not going to do that story anymore. Woo, once we come back, let's talk about these monies, isn't it?
Are you an SME looking for a media partner?
Look no more, as Lookuptv got you covered for all your visibility and marketing needs. We at Lookuptv understand your business needs and want to work with you on your marketing journey, giving you solutions that will take you to the next level. Call us today on 0707 572 358 or send an email to sales@lookuptv.co.ke and kickstart this amazing journey. Welcome to Lookuptv, your official SME media partner.
Are you looking for experts in waterproofing systems, concrete admixtures, flooring systems, refurbishment solutions, roofing, sealing and bonding, and building finishing systems? Look no more, as Simba Kiage got you covered. With over 113 years of experience, we offer our customers a comprehensive one-stop shop experience and the best technical support. Our products are available in all leading hardware stores and building merchants across the country. Call us today on 0711 140 232 or 0786 140 834 or email us on sales@ke.sika.com. Simba Kiage, building trust.
Infinity Industrial Park is one of the largest private industrial parks located along Eastern Bypass, Nairobi, which provides modern infrastructure for smooth operations for industries and business enterprises. Infinity Industrial Park offers world-class amenities and facilities with wide roads, a police station, a power substation, fire station, public transport stage, hospital, and shopping mall. In addition, Infinity Industrial Park also offers CCTV cameras, 24-hour private armed security patrol, sewer, water, fiber optic cable, and 3-phase power connection, added to public utility, canteen, and dining areas. Sail on the golden opportunity to invest in Infinity Industrial Park fully serviced warehouses at a special price of 3,569 Kenyan shillings per square foot. For more inquiries, visit our website infinityindustrialpark.com.
As the night falls, we come to life to bring you a comprehensive broadcast from the numerous events happening across our 47 counties.
When it breaks, it matters, and each story is important.
If it's Thursday, join me, Nancy Lima, and my able panelists as we break down the law jargons and analyze the Constitution in a way only you can understand.
The news cycle never stops, neither does time. We cover each and every sector and present to you factual and accurate occurrences. This is where facts win the day. Join me,
Nancy Lima,
Ian Keitani, Tuesday, every Wednesday,
Thursday,
as from 9 p.m. on The Insight, only on Lookuptv.
Praise the Lord and Bwana Yesu asifiwe sana. My name is Pastor Josephiah. I'm from a ministry called Reconcilers World. God gives strength to the weary. I am, Jesus is speaking. He says, I am the door. Then he says, anyone who enters in through me will be saved. The Lord is my shepherd or shepherd. Then he says, I will always have everything I need. God desires to guide you. He's telling you that this day, don't just trust the Lord, but he's telling you trust the Lord widely.
Karibu mtazamaji kwenye kipindi cha jamii na itikadi.
Kaini kitako tuna mengi.
Mapenzi yanapoanza watu huitana bebi na majina mengine matamu, lakini baadaye penzi linapogeuka na kuwa shubiri,
mtu anafikia kwenda kumtafuta mke mwingine.
Itakuwaje?
Yule wa kwake nyumbani labda hajamridhisha.
Ni sawa ama vipi Maliki?
Dadangu, wanaume ni kama maembe.
Huyu ni mwanamume atakuja abadiliki.
Mwanaume mwenye wanawake wengi hata katika uchumba, kwenye ndoa ataendelea. Mtu na tabia yake hawachi. Ile umbo la kike likishaanza, kila kitu kishaanza kuwa mahali pake.
Ningependa kukuona.
Sijaenda mahali ambapo mimi nilisikia mtu ati huyu alikuwa shujaa, alikufa katika mstari wa mbele wa ndoa. Sijawahi sikia mimi.
Right, welcome back to Lookuptv. My name is Simba Kiage. Let's then get into the last conversation on our show this morning. And that is going to be looking at areas in which youth can economically involve themselves in. Now, I want to read for you some stats here of our topic this morning, and I'm going to introduce that topic shortly, and the guests who are joining us to get into that conversation. Is that in the country, the average age of a farmer, it's still at 52 years of age. 52 years. So essentially means that the youth, who are the bulk of the population, if the latest census report is anything to go by, are not involved in farming in the country. Now, again, another stat, that the biggest employer in the country is agriculture. The biggest contributor to the country's GDP is agriculture. In fact, if you look at the economic report 2022, that it is quite hard for you to know how many people are essentially employed in this particular sector because of how many there are. That the informality of small businesses in the country, majority of them are enshrined within this particular sector, which makes it quite important then for us to talk about today. We're going to look at some of the value chains that you can log on as a youth, especially when we talk about farming. And it's a good thing that we have youth who are going to join us then for this conversation. And on set already is a man who's not a new face to us here. We do have Kennedy Sankara, who's the National Youth Policy Advocate. Kennedy, how are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you, Simba.
Happy to have you around. Also joining us shortly, we're going to be joined by one Aluso Felix, who's a field tech assistant at Hello Tractor. Fantastic. Sankara, let me start like this. That these numbers, if they're anything to go by, they are a true testament that majority of youth have not known how to get into the agriculture sector.
That's very true, but a lot of factors, Simba, contribute to that. Yeah. As we talk even about of youth complacence in leadership, we also see the same attribute being taken to agriculture, and then we ask ourselves, what is the issue? Personally, I took agriculture in high school, yes, and it was one of my favorite subjects. I could score as best as I could. So agriculture, generally, there is little primitive perception amongst young people on what agriculture entails. Yes. Everyone is running to do a business course, and no one wants to take agriculture, that they don't want to get dirty. And ask them, I mean, why don't you want to get dirty and yourself? The life you are living is a product of dirty, and someone has to go to the farm to produce vegetables, all those sorts of agricultural production that can sustain the life. You've just mentioned that our GDP, 80% contribution of our GDP is a product of agriculture. The best employer locally is agriculture. And then the average age of a farmer is at 52. To me, today my dad is around 61. Now you can talk of my dad being a farmer. and myself at 25, I'm not a farmer.
Yeah.
The issue here is, then we ask ourselves, what has been not happening? Is it laziness from the government side? Has there not been incentives and initiatives to push the young people into venturing into agriculture? Is there no adequate or reliable support from the government and responsible institutions? Is the environment generally not enabling for a young person to venture into agriculture? Is it about the land ownership system, the land tenure system, the old land tenure system where the old people perceive or are perceived to be the owners of the land? And a young person, when you want to venture into agriculture or small scale production, you have to consult with the senior citizens, and they would tell you that, you know, this land, you leave it there because of this and that reason. That's an issue that I've even had with my grandma. My grandma gave me a small piece of land somewhere in Kisumu, Chiga. But again, when I want to do some production in it, she has some reservations, you know. So all these things contribute into the general low statistical records being witnessed in agriculture. But agriculture is very, very important. And let me tell you, for you to practice agriculture, you don't even need to sit in a university or college class. All you need is knowledge and information, and the people around who are able and willing to disseminate this information to the farmers. I'm pretty sure, as we're speaking about e-farming here today, there is a farmer who doesn't know anything about e-farming. There's a farmer who only knows that the government can avail a subsidized fertilizer, and the subsidized fertilizer, the mode of application, all these things culminate into inadequate information dissemination to the farmers. And that is the young people. What are we doing as a country? What are the potential incentives or initiatives that we put place as a government to attract young people into farming? If you see the government lowering the cost of importing a chopper and then still buying a subsidized fertilizer, it's misplaced priority.
Yes.
You find agricultural colleges. Which colleges or courses have the government subsidized to encourage more of the young people to participate and register into those courses? Because we don't even have adequate agricultural extension officers as we speak today.
Yes.
You look at the ratio of one agricultural extension officer in a district, in a constituency, it is quite big. So it's not about young people not participating in agriculture. Yes. If we are not going to address the why, then we are not really going to have the conversation.
Yes, let's look at the why. That the only thing that we define as agriculture, Sankara, is somebody going to the shamba. But then within the agriculture sector, we have a lot of value chains that have essentially not been marketed to the young people in the country. Case in point, e-farming is essentially looking at different ways that we achieve a product through this particular sector by not relying on the traditional means. That we have marketing, we have processing, we have just different ways of then getting a product out of this particular sector. But it has not been sold out to majority of the youth in the country, Sankara.
Well, before I even get to the complaint side or my opinion, I would say bootstrapping is also another potential area where the farmer, the buyer, and the young people can venture into. Bootstrapping basically translates to venturing into a productive and progressive business without much financial constraints. EM is a perfect example. I am a dairy farmer. I don't have reliable market to supply my milk. You are an investor with limited financial resources. You can venture into value addition by taking my milk on credit. I'm pretty sure as a farmer, at the end of the month, I'm going to get something from Simba, who is a retailer. Simba is going to employ young people or any other citizen in the value addition chain. By doing so, we are creating jobs, we are adding value to our products, we are getting money. So both the farmer and the entrepreneur, it's a mutual gain-gain situation, because the farmers do not have adequate milk storage facilities. These make farmers sell their milk at a throwaway price. If we only harness the communication between the farmer and the buyer, we are going to create a lot of things. So going straight to what we are talking about today, e-farming, I would begin by giving my personal opinion or definition of what e-farming is. Just as we know what farming is, e-farming to me is the use of digital tools, technologies, and data-driven approaches to optimize various aspects of agricultural production. Yes. So the essential point here is digital tools, digital technologies, and why are we doing all this? To optimize. Generally, e-farming involves the integration of digital or technology into the traditional methods of farming with an aim of optimizing the process by improving the entire agricultural production through sustainability, productivity, and also efficiency. You know, when we use examples of digital tools I would give you, when I say efficiency, productivity, and sustainability, and there is no sufficient reliable evidence. For example, the e-farming practices, precision farming, use of automation, remote sensing, and data analytics or analytics. It depends on what someone can pronounce. All this culminate into e-farming. And now, therefore, the question we are asking ourselves, why e-farming? Why e-farming? When we integrate digital technology into the traditional farming system, we are going to achieve 3 objectives. Number 1 is sustainability or productivity and efficiency. You don't need to put in more energy into doing something, but you can use knowledge and power to actually get your work done within seamlessly, within the shortest time possible. Now, we are talking of the integration, and then we're asking ourselves, why e-farming? E-farming seeks to solve or gain 3 or 4 at most. Number 1 is, when we venture into e-farming, we are going to optimize agriculture by maximizing on yields, minimizing on inputs, and controlling the external factors, generally improving agriculture as a whole. So all this said and done, we are talking about machines, and when you're setting, you will move to the phase of now setting the farm or the digital farming system. So I was talking of the components. Look at something to do with the, let's say, farm or software or farm software management. This is the digital command center of inventories. You can access data, financial records, and very other reliable informations at the right information at the right time. When the right information in agriculture aims at helping the farmer to make informed decisions and optimize on resource allocation. Our aim with e-farming is to optimize resource allocation, optimize agricultural production. Everything is about reducing cost while increasing yield. In my layman agricultural language, the high school teacher taught me, Mr. David Asothi, Madam Milden, and Dan Otieno. They told me, you put in little, but you gain much. So, I was giving a technical example, like the use of unmanned aerial vehicles, the UAVs, or what we famously refer to as drones. Drones are fitted with high-resolution cameras and high-technology imaging systems. They can fly up, flock like birds, take critical information within the farm. This acts as the eye and the ear of the farmer. You don't need to be there physically to monitor various aspects of farming, e.g., the soil condition. We will use the smart sensors. You talk of the crop health. You talk of the weather, the soil moisture and etc. You can't go dig a piece of land, scoop soil, and then you try squeezing the soil texture through your fingers to test whether is it moist or not. You need digital technology. So then there comes the question, my role as a policy advocate. Are we going to import choppers on subsidized cost, or are we going to ensure that farmers first get information, farmers get access to digital markets where they are going to purchase these particular aforementioned items at a subsidized cost? You know, we are not talking about farming just by taking a djembe, putting it onto your shoulder and going to dig carelessly in the farm. We are talking of a scenario whereby you are going to dig, doing the right thing. You know exactly what you are going to do. And that will drive us to some component or later components of this discussion, where before you settle on a particular mode or the e-farming techniques, you are going to look at the compatibility, the reliability, and the sustainability of the digital tools that you're going to put in place. How will you do that? You will first do your need assessment. Are you troubled with irrigation? Are you troubled with pest control and related issues? Then you go a notch higher, identify available, you classify your needs vis-a-vis the available digital tools. Then you look at the compatibility, reliability, affordability. Then you can initiate the entire process. So, all said and done, look at our farming system. Of all the things I've mentioned, how many farms practice e-farming in Kenya? Then the question is why? How peaceful will the government sit and watch the people cry of cost of living?
Yes.
And these are things we can do. In the recent past, during the climate change action, I interacted with various young people from various African nations, and to be particular from Zimbabwe. And the girl from Zimbabwe I would call Tafadzwa. She's one of the most vocal ladies on matters climate change in Zimbabwe. She was telling me that, you know, in Kenya, as you are crying for the cost of living, in as much as a dollar costs 6,000 Zimbabwean dollar in Zimbabwe, we are pretty okay with that because we can eat. Matebele land, they are specifically for cattle. When you go to other parts of Zimbabwe, we are producing crops. We have enormous, I mean, the production there is, the yields are enough for their consumption and even for sale. So us here, what is the problem? Cartels all over.
Yes.
Try go out there today and speak of initiatives that are going to protect farmers from this lack of information, adequate information. Cartels will do everything possible to ensure that they suppress any attempts that will close the avenues and loopholes of their normal scavenger tactics fields.
At a time when we're saying the policy is not a problem in the country, it is just this policy action that we haven't seen, isn't it?
You know, in other conversations, I have always emphasized that in a country like Kenya, policy formulation ain't an issue. Policy implementation is the biggest elephant in the house. And this is not an accident. Policy implementation failure in this country is a deliberate mechanization and making of persons with vested interest in those particular fields. If you talk about youth and agriculture, you would ask yourself, why should the government not enforce policies that are going to ensure that young people venture into agriculture? If you are telling me that every Form 4 graduate must join NYS, how is that going to help us? You should have told us that every Form 4 graduate must go to an agricultural college, because we have to address the food sustainability issue. We have to address production. We have to create jobs. We are not going to create jobs and we've overemphasized on importation. I come from Kano area in Kisumu. Kano, in Chiga, a place called Kakwema, they produce rice. When you go to Aero, they produce rice. Then you find some silly government official officiating importation of plastic rice from China. You even know more. So who is who?
At a time, Bob was saying that the youth need to get exposed to these policies, and also then entice them into agriculture. What do you think we need to start in this conversation for pulling youth into e-farming? If you're saying that, well, the future and the present of agriculture is going to be the youth.
You know, in school we were told that E's are bad grades, but I would tell you for a fact, you need some of three E's in life. That is education, exposure, and experience. The education aspect will help you know all these aspects of e-farming. We are talking about educating the farmers and etc. We need the technocrats, the people who know how to do what, when, how. The exposure. When you walk around, the exposure, the experience of getting how people do their farming in other parts of the country, in other parts of the world, these are what we need. So to kick it off is first to create an enabling environment. Expose these young people to existing agricultural policies. As well, try very much as possible as you can to lure them. At times you have to lure people into this particular program. By doing so, let us also try to elevate the position of farmers economically, especially those who ventured into agricultural production, so that we really know. Being a farmer, there is input-output ratio. So I am not going to take my time, to venture into something that has no element of reciprocity. I need to gain something at the end of the day. So ensure that those farmers who already ventured into business of agricultural production, they feel or have value for whatever it is that they are doing. Let me not do farming and still live in scalar condition, hand-to-mouth economy, as if I don't have something substantial. Let us move the perception of moving the white-collar job perception from young people. It is not a mere verbal discharge. The verbality must also be consistent with the action. Let us also show these young people that it's never a mistake venturing into agriculture. The government should put in policies. Look at what Gaddafi was doing in Libya. When he took over power, Libya was a desert. They would produce crops. Look at countries like Israel. Israel, a desert that is a product of land reclamation. Look at Japan. Japan is an island. They do land reclamation and they produce crops and export. Then a country that experiences tropical rainfalls, sitting closer to the equator, can still talk of high cost of living. And there are arable, riparian lands lying. I love traveling on a vehicle because flights occasionally limit your exposure. When you sit on a car or a long distance drive, you come to experience life in different areas. When you drive along Nakuru to Kisumu, before you get to Kisumu, you will meet huge tracts of land lying bare and empty. And we are talking of cost of living. We have water in Lake Victoria. The second largest freshwater body in the world after Lake Albert in the US. If we could connect the pipeline from Changamwe in Mombasa all the way to Kisumu, what fails us or denies us the right and the opportunity to connect fresh water all the way from Kisumu to other parts of the country, so that we really embrace this production. This thing is possible.
But my director tells me, and unfortunately I don't know how we have 1 minute left. Sankara, I want you to summarize it like this in 45 seconds, please, if you may. When you look at where we are in policy, formulation and implementation, in 45 seconds if you can, what needs to be done now for us to start talking about e-farming being a success in the country? And is this a conversation that the government needs to drive, or a conversation that small scaleholder farmers need to drive in the country?
The government, being the custodian of all the rights and everything, they need to initiate, they need to involve, they need to engage, they need to enlighten, they need to appreciate. It is that simple. I would not manipulate this into various segments with jargons. No, it is simple. Educate, engage, appreciate, and also involve, so that we young people, we can appreciate the aspects of farming. Let us see those farmers enjoy the fulfillment of agriculture. Do not let our farmers cry that a farmer can produce coffee in Mount Kenya. Then instead of the farmer benefiting from the coffee export, a cartel who does not know even how to hold a djembe. Let us strengthen our war on graft. Corruption is one of the things ailing us. The kingdom of cartels, that kingdom is very powerful. You know, a cartel can influence even a case in court to derail a government initiative. Let us be very firm. There comes a time that the right thing must be done by the right person, regardless of what you are going to feel. Yes.
Guess what? That particular statement right there from Sankara essentially ends our show this morning. We do apologize that we didn't have Elias with us right here in the studio. We're going to look for him so that we essentially go back to this conversation again, so we can actually get to make more gains around it. We're talking about e-farming and those particular submissions there by Sankara on exactly what needs to be done around policy, so that the formulated policies then can be implemented in the country if this is going to be a particular success, especially among the youth in the country. For now, we call it quits this morning on The Morning Drift. I'll see you tomorrow for another session. Thank you very much for being with us all the way from 7 a.m. this morning. Good morning.
Hi, and welcome to Tujenge Home. Your #1 show when it comes to all things architecture, real estate, property development, interior design. You get it right here on Tujenge Home. When the food is ready.
You want to serve them?
Dinner is served. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go.
Praise the Lord and Bwana Yesu asifiwe sana. My name is Pastor Josiah. I'm from a ministry called Reconcilers World. God gives strength to the weary. I am, Jesus is speaking. He says, I am the door. Then he says, anyone who enters in through me will be saved. The Lord is my shepherd or shepherd. Then he says, I will always have everything I need. God desires to guide you. He's telling you that this day, don't just trust the Lord, but he's telling you, trust the Lord widely.
Kipindi ni ukulima ni mali na Manjoro. Kumbuka hapa ndipo unajifunza mambo mengi kuhusu ukulima. Kilimo ni uti wa mgongo wa nchi, na ukiwa na Njoro unajifunza. Kumbuka, angalia mwenyewe. Tunakuambia ukitaka kujua tips za ukulima, ungana na sisi kwenye Lookuptv. Every Sunday unatukuta pale saa 10, tunakuonesha kuhusu ukulima. Ukulima wa mimea, ukulima wa ng'ombe, ukulima wa kuku, ukulima wa mbuzi na yote ambayo yanahusiana na ukulima. Kumbuka nini? Kipindi ni ukulima ni mali.
So sometimes, actually not sometimes, all the time, we do have real conversations right here on The Morning Drift. Some of them touch so close to my heart. And I will introduce that conversation to you like this. It's a conversation this morning that we're calling Married But Single. It's a conversation that's going to touch on, number one, those of you who said this year, I'm going to get married. And by the way, let's just remind you, you only have 3 months to do that. It's September. So if that was part of your vision this year, you only have 3 months to do that. So should you do that, then how are you going to know that you're indeed married? That's one. Or number two, for those of you who've been married and you're wondering, why doesn't it feel like I'm married? It's a conversation that's very close to my heart. And I know we're going to speak to a majority of you this morning as well. Good. All right. Let me then introduce the panel that is joining us this morning. And I'll go one after the other. Let me start with Pastor Rose Mbugwa, by the way, who is already now, that's why I'm starting with her, who's a life coach and all that. Pastor Rose, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, Simba.
Happy to have you around.
Happy to.
Good. All right, let me then introduce the rest of our guests who are joining us this morning. I do have Gabriela Nyamu, who is a purpose coach. How are you doing, sir?
Thank you for having me.
Happy to have you around. Pastor Samuel Gichuhi, who's a Christ Our King Church worker. Pastor Gichuhi, how are you doing, sir?
I'm fine and blessed, Simba. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. Okay. There's the thing, and I keep on telling Pastor Rose is that when I get these conversations, I do not do research. I want to be a student from the beginning to the end. We have 1 hour to talk about this conversation, and I'm going to begin from a very basic point. Let me start with you, Pastor Gichuhi. Married but single. What is that?
My understanding of married but single, people talks about people who are legally married or customary married.
That's it.
They live under one roof. They probably share the last name, and they attend functions together.
That's it.
But deep down, they are not together. There are certain things that ought to happen within a marriage setup that are not happening. So on the face of it, they are married. But deep down, they are single. That is my understanding.
That's your understanding. Fantastic. Pastor Rose.
Yes.
I mean, you are testament of what marriage is. If we're going to define it from one end, that even if you be married for long, then you might be married, because I do not understand whether somebody can say that you've been married and single for 18 years plus. I'm going to stop there. What is your understanding as we introduce this particular subject of married but single? What does it mean?
On my side, married but single,
yes,
I can call it a disorder. Something like it is this. What was God's idea of marriage?
Yes.
Genesis 2:18, that he made a helper. Those people. He said it is not good for this man to be alone. And so this is what he did. He brought two people. And they cannot be there. Be two people who are married and they are one of them is single.
Yes.
So there is a disorder. Something is lacking. I echo my brother's words. Either they are not communicating, they are doing nothing of the both of them.
Yes.
So I can call it a disorder. Something is missing.
A disorder. Good. All right, let me cross over then to a purpose coach. By the way, I want you to introduce who's a purpose coach, even before we continue this conversation, and your understanding of this concept, married but single.
Thank you, Raj, and thank you for having me here. Maybe starting by the definition of the purpose coach. This is a coach who helps you discover your God-given life purpose, but also coach you through the process of how do you leverage that purpose for growth and impact. So different from the normal conventional life coaching, the purpose coaching is more focused on your why you are on earth.
Yes.
And I think that also brings the same discourse when it comes to marriage. When you say married and separated, I see a purposeless relationship there. And my colleagues have called it disorder, which is true. Because if you deviate from the original conditions of a state of something,
yes,
that is a disorder completely.
Mm-hmm.
So these are people, of course, who are in a relationship just for convenience.
Yes.
But they are lonely in their context as individuals.
That's it.
And it's only one and one that makes another one.
That's it.
Not a 0.8 and 0.5.
That's it.
Can't make a one.
Pretty much. I'll be coming to you then so that we can table that conversation in a proper way. Now, Pastor Gishuhi, let me begin with you then. Let's now dig deep. The definition of marriage from a Christian perspective, and we do know how Genesis envisions it, that a man shall leave his family, a woman shall leave their family as well, they'll join together and be one.
Yeah.
Doesn't go deeper, but if you look at that particular analogy, then it doesn't mean two people are together who've left their families and started a life together. What is a complete marriage?
A complete marriage by the standards of God,
yes,
and therefore according to Scripture,
yes,
is where the Bible says that man shall leave his mother and father. It is the man. In African community, we tend to think it should be the woman, but according to the Bible,
yes,
it is the man who leaves his mother and father and joins his spouse so that they can make a union.
What does that mean?
It has deep spiritual meaning because it is even possible for you to have left your parents up country and you are living with your wife in Nairobi, but really they are still in your heart. They still steer you around. You are not an independent thinker.
I see that.
Therefore, the living we are talking about, the departure we are talking about, is not just physical. It's also about spiritual and realizing that now you have started a family, you are one union,
yes,
and that you need now to steer it together. So God's order is for man and woman to come together and become one, united with one cause under God.
That's it. So that's the definition of living.
Yeah.
All right.
And clinging.
If I cross over to Pastor Rose as well, let me give you, when we sat down as a production team and said, well, we got to come up with a conversation around what are the signs that are going to tell you that you are single in this. Number one, that when you feel that you're the only one pulling the relationship.
Yeah.
But then, Pastor Gishui, let me begin like this. That you would like to think that two people who decide to marry have already made that decision that they're going to marry.
Yes.
So feeling like you're the only one pulling that relationship is not going to be a factor. Because if I decided that I'm going to marry and build a family, me feeling that I'm alone in this is never going to be a factor. So why are we saying that one of the signs of you are married but single is when you're feeling that you are alone?
Yeah, it is possible to feel that way in a relationship.
Yes.
Because when you get into a relationship, all of you ought to contribute to this union.
Does it?
In raising the family. If God blesses you with the children, as you raise them up, it cannot be left to one individual.
Does it?
And as you rightly said, when the responsibilities are left to one party, those are the signs now that begin to show that I am married, but really there's something that is not working. There's something that is not adding up. In a union, we may not contribute the same amount of money, but surely we should meet somewhere in the middle. And all of us should be interested in the success of the union. And I will say this, many people come to marriage from diverse angles.
Yes.
There are those who meet and they say it is love on first sight, and before they think about it, they are married, they are staying together. There are others who take time to think, to ponder, to negotiate, to contribute, and to get to know one another, which is what I recommend, so that you don't go into it blindly. But we have our marriages, especially in our Kenyan setup, that are informed by so many things, where so many situations, so many conditions. There are people who get married to run away from their parents. They get married because now they want to start earning a living. There are many situations that constitute what we call a family. But An ideal family is where both parties are contributing to the success and to the good of the family. And in the case of the topic we have here about married but single, the only situation that, the only reason that somebody would choose to remain married, even though they know things are not working together, are issues like children. You do not want your children to be forsaken or for them to suffer. Yes. Or maybe you are dependent on your spouse for finances or something of the sort. Those are some of the conditions that cause people, even though they are not comfortable in the relationship, to want to stay on. And I know as we go on, we are going to pour the implications of this.
Pretty much. Pastor Rose.
Yes.
Same question. You know, for any other person who's not married, you like to think that that spouse, that man, that lady you're going to meet, has already made the decision that they're going to get married.
Yes.
And the only reason people marry is to start a family, that you're going to push and start a family. So the question is this. If indeed the kids are fine, the family is getting run like a proper business. The kids are going to school, the kids are happy, the kids are fed, and the kids are being brought up well. Why then, if that was the purpose, Pastor Rose, why would I sit back and say, I think I'm single? How?
You are single.
How?
Because marriage is not about children. It is not about those things.
Why not?
It is about me and you. 1 + 1, we bring 1.
Pastor Rose, is it true though? Is it true that marriage is about you and I?
Yes, that is the foundation, of course.
Is that the purpose of marriage?
It is, and that is where we lay a foundation. That my pastor has said, a man should live when they live, and we put it together the other day here. The structure of marriage. Yes. Foundation is living and cleaving. Now cleaving is being together. You see now, when now we are thinking about the blessings, we are not thinking about the main purpose of being here.
Example is this, and allow me, it might sound stupid.
Yeah, continue.
That if I get into a matatu in the CBD,
yes,
and the aim is to get to Kisumu, I don't have to be in good terms with the driver. I mean, the driver doesn't have to make me happy. But the end goal is to get to Kisumu, isn't it? So if the landing goal is to get to Kisumu, why am I feeling like, what was the contract? The contract is for us to get to Kisumu. Why do people marry? People don't marry because they're looking for company. They already have that company. Is it not true?
They don't have. They need it. That intimacy. That yeah, it is more than a company. It is a friendship. You come, I come. We come together. This intimacy, I feel you, you feel me. Yes, that is. And anything apart outside of that, it is a disorder. There are causes that can cause that. When there is no communication, some people always say love gets cold. You see, as if you are not feeling the other partner or the other person. But it is for me. Kupepea iyo moto that iwe balance, iwake. You see? Now, that we have this intimacy, this that miss and lacks in a marriage, sexual union, when that one lacks, now things, we are now parting.
That's it.
We are now starting to part.
Yes.
And there are many things that can cause it. So it is good now to look which area is our communication. And it is communication. It is not telling me, bring this, bring that, then we stop there. When I was sharing with Gabriel here, I was excited. When he was telling me, this marriage has come like, I go to the shop, money, I want a blade, I pay, then no other communication, nothing else. I go and use my blade. That is not marriage.
Gabriel?
Yes.
Papa, okay, just hold on. Pastor Rose is introducing something, a concept that maybe might look alien to majority of people who are listening to you this morning. I mean, In an African setup, a man is told, look here, your purpose as a man, and it's never changed. You can go back centuries. Provide, protect. All right? In providing protection for your family, make sure your family doesn't sleep hungry. Make sure that your family is comfortable. Protect them. I mean, your wife at home should be protected, either socially, economically, through all forms of protection. And they like to think that you cannot protect something that you do not respect. It's like my job. I gotta protect it because I respect it, because I know what it gives me at the end of the day. I might not necessarily feel like I'm gonna like this job, but I'll protect it because I know the benefits it gives me. Purpose. Let's define purpose in marriage. Where does it come from? Because we do know in an African setup, a man marries not because of company or love. In fact, men who do that, they're called weak. You can't marry because of love. Come on. You gotta marry because you wanna start a family, you know? So that your name continues, your family name grows beyond just you and your dad. How do you find purpose in marriage?
Great, good conversations, and I like what my colleagues are sharing. One is we are not the author of marriage as human beings.
Yes.
It was authored by God himself. So it's God who gives purpose, not us. So we are part of God's conduit or a channel or stewards to execute his mandate.
No, sir.
Now, I want to echo some words that Pastor Rose have shared. We've reduced marriage to a transaction. So when it becomes transactional, means it ends when the transaction ends. If I buy something from you, at the end of the transaction is an exchange of currency, and that is gone. So you are still strangers. There's no inbuilt relationship there. I also say things don't go wrong, they start wrong. The foundation, I think there's a scripture in the book of Proverbs that says, yes, it's through wisdom a house is built. Through understanding it is established.
Yeah.
But also through knowledge, it is filled with good riches. Now let's put marriage in that context. There's the building, which is the foundation. If the foundation is wrong, if I am just obeying a culture, that is not sustainable. Because we have seen people who get into marriage just because they were forced to, maybe even spouses were searched for them. They didn't pay a price. There was no effort, literally. Now, we've also seen some that are more out of convenience. Convenience is, I think I need to associate with somebody who can meet my needs and all that. So you reduce it to the level of that convenience. When the convenience is over, and you've enjoyed all the convenience you wanted, so what? So you become empty. And when you become empty, automatically, that aspect of loneliness, craving immediately. And you start feeling, is this all what I was looking for? And that gives you a sense of, now, I think I need to look for something else. So as much as you're in the same relationship, but you're already looking out. Now, it takes understanding for establishing a relationship. In fact, marriage is never sustained by love. And that's where I think we go wrong. It is never. Love is not in the equation of sustaining. It's actually through understanding and knowledge. Now, let me say, sometimes I'm married for the last 10 years. I still don't know my wife fully. I can't say I have full knowledge of my wife for the last 10 years.
Yes.
It's something I still discover, every day. Now, we think just because you have met somebody, you have known them. Then, 3 years down the line, you start discovering some characters and you're like, I don't think this is what I needed, because you had an ideal, illusional, pseudo view of who this person is. But through this, when you are 30 years and you marry a 25 years girl, those are 50 years, 55 years of history. So if I'm 30 and marry a 25, those are 55 years.
Oh, that's what it means, isn't it?
That is it. It's a combined. And I can't change that in 3 years or 2 years.
Even in 10 years, it's not going to be possible. Yes.
And it takes vulnerability. And this is why you bring God in the equation. Don't bring your family and clans and all that. That's okay. We listen to them because we are a product of our ancestors and cultures. But you have to bring God in the equation, because it's God sometimes who helps you even reveal. There are some things that are beyond just cognitive knowledge.
Yes.
The revelation I get about my wife that actually nothing to do with what she has told me. In my prayer for her, sometimes I discern, I think she could be going through this. And through that discernment, we're able to connect. In fact, intimacy, as Pastor Rose is saying, we usually call it intimacy. That's intimacy.
Yeah.
See into me even the naked thing that I've never told you. And be vulnerable that you can accommodate it. Because a challenge I have seen, and I think these conversations we had here, unfortunately I know of a couple that got married and then they went for honeymoon, but the man could not function in the natural way we expect a man to function during honeymoon. This is the first time the lady is like, wait a minute. You know, because you expect at least you have fantasy during your honeymoon. But the man has never said he has a biological issue. So actually when they were coming back, they kind of came back separated automatically. And that marriage never went anywhere. But you see, that's a lack of intimacy, and that's nothing to do with that, you know, intimacy in terms of romance and all that. No. It is a feel of, wait a minute, I'm getting a culture shock here. I never knew about this. You've never told me. Because people tell just to talk. But when you talk, we talk politics and unga and other things. We really don't talk, especially for men. We don't talk the deep secrets, fears, ambitions that are so hidden. We have got something called 5 levels of communication. The 5th level, which is the depth of the level, is where I can share my fears, what I dread in life. Men will never tell you that. They will appear so strong. When you're dating, you're in your best. So you'll never know each other. So if you've not built your maturity enough that you can accommodate each other's naked, very ugly, you know, discoveries, you can never sustain. So I think also the aspect of what we began with, making it so transactional. You know, just making it as just an exchange of currency or needs, whatever. That is not the case. God needed us, first of all, to be under his fellowship. So he's a man and man in fellowship with God first. So God is the overall. It is through that we get the pipeline. Now to agree with Pastor Rose. Children come as a byproduct, propagate godly offspring. That's spoken in Malachi. So to propagate and to create godly offspring, that come as a product. That means even if you get married and you're barren, that's still a marriage.
It is.
You can't force it. That's a marriage. But it's out of that God cast it because he has commanded principles for propagating his kingdom that you can get godly offspring come as a result of you.
Pretty much. Pastor Kiage, this is where it gets a bit complex then. Because I listen to you all and I hear that religion has a deep base in understanding the purpose of marriage.
Yes.
Also then means that when you're going to pick a partner, you have to get somebody who also understands the purpose of religion in a marriage. And I know, Pastor Kiage, you have couples who approach you for intervention, just to see exactly where they are on the religion basis. How do you know that somebody knows the purpose of marriage from a religious perspective? If I got a girl today, and I came to you and told you, Pastor Kiage, I like the way you think about marriage, I want to see exactly where she is.
Well, in our setup in our church, when young people come to us and tell us they intend to get married, we take them through counseling, premarital counseling, to give them a good understanding of what marriage is all about.
On a religious basis.
On a religious basis, but even in the natural, it is necessary. In the African culture, people used to be coached by the elders, by their aunts, by their uncles, and so on and so forth. But in our setup, we make sure that we take people through premarital counseling. It is in that forum that we tell them, like Gabriel is saying, that marriage is complete even without children. Children, yes, they are blessing from the Lord, but you don't marry. Marriage is not a transaction. Marriage is not a contract. Marriage is a covenant. It is a union of two people. And you don't come to marriage thinking so much about what you're going to get from it. The best approach is to come to marriage thinking about what you're going to give to it.
Is that what majority of people do not understand?
Yeah, that's what they don't understand. So they come expecting, and the expectations sometimes are not good expectations. Maybe they are overrated.
Pastor Kiage, what is the product of marriage?
Product?
That's it.
Well, I said it's a union.
That's it.
And in this union, and it's a covenant also, in this union, you become one. You get a partner. You become partners in this union. And you become a support staff. The Bible says that, refers to the wife as a helpmate. You are given a helpmate that is suitable for you. Therefore, you are better off. The Bible also says that one will chase 1,000, but two will put 10,000 to flight. Meaning that if when you bring your energies together, when this synergy comes together, you are able to do much more than you would ordinarily do, even in a given period of time. But it's also important to state, because our conversation today revolves around people who are married but then single, that people may get into a union or into a marriage with the best of intentions, but then other issues crop up along the way. For instance, issues of infidelity, issues of finances, and I know we will get time to get into the depth of this, and even issues of culture, because you could marry from our different cultures have the different ways that we look at a husband or a wife. Maybe you come from Uganda, for instance, where women kneel when they are coming before men, and then you marry from my community. That is foreign. We don't do that. And therefore, there are many issues that would contribute into making a union have. But if you come with the right attitude, if you come having purpose to make it work, and if you come, like Gabriel says, making God number one in your union, then it is going to work. But it is work. Marriage is work, but it works.
That's it. But that what you should be thinking about is what you're going to give, as opposed to the product.
Yes. That ought to be your attitude, that I'm going into it to make a contribution. I'm going into it to make it work. I'm going into it to be a blessing. Of course, along the way, you'll also get so many benefits. But if you look at your spouse as some of them as a worker, or somebody to have pleasure with, or somebody to just sire children for you, well, that is a wrong perspective. And these kind of things don't go very far. But if you come to it with the right attitude, then you'll be able to scale the heights and be able to overcome challenges that inevitably come in marriage.
Pastor Rose, if you may, I'm going to come to you just right now. There's something that I want him to make clear. Because you're raising some very valid point, that if I'm going to look at what I'm going to give into this marriage, Pastor Gishuhi, nowadays we do have premarital counseling. It's exactly what you expect. Is the role you're going to play. Learn yourself. Know whether you can actually be able to do what is asking you to do right now. Some of those tough questions. How many kids do you want to get? Do you want to get 2? Do you want to get 3? What are they going to go? So then can't you say, therefore, Pastor Gishuhi, that the reason for premarital counseling is to see first whether you can get what you want before you can start contributing. So for those people who don't get the chance to attend premarital counseling, then can't you see that what they're going to get comes first before what they're going to give?
It is true. Yes. But really, you don't go to there in order to see whether you will get what you are looking for. You go into it to get an understanding.
Why would I marry? Why would I marry?
To get an understanding of how you can contribute and make it better. It is not good to be about me, I, and myself. Every time you approach matters that way, you don't go very far. It's about making a contribution and impact in the lives of others. Therefore, if you get the premarital counseling, you get to understand certain values about marriage. You get to understand that the person you're getting married to is not your sister or your mother. They will not cook the cup of tea the way your mother did. Because there are some people who put standards. I want you to cook exactly like my mother. She was not brought up by your mother. Therefore, you have to be flexible. You have to be pliable. You have to be willing to change, and maybe ready even to teach her.
Pastor Rose, I know it's getting complex.
It is.
That's it. It's getting complex.
It is.
Because you see, these are the kind of feelings, and you hear what Pastor Gishu is saying. He's introducing a very new concept to people listening to us this morning. That it's not what you're going to get, it's about what you're going to contribute. That what you're contributing is exactly what leads to what you're going to get. But that concept is a bit alien, Pastor Rose, in this sense. The purpose of me getting married, if you ask me today, top corner, I know why I'm going to get married. I'm going to get married because I want kids. I want a family. But then you hear telling me, nah, that's a byproduct of what you're going to give in. Is that not a problem there? Because then, if I don't think about that right now, all right?
Yes.
and I get a woman who essentially is not going to give me kids, I'm going to feel single. Definitely. I'll be like, hey, this is not my place. Yes. Okay. Yes, I know I'm contributing and giving all that, but then the product is also a big factor.
It's also a big factor.
In me feeling that I'm in fully. That's it.
You are full and you are not single.
That's it, like I'm a minute.
Look here, in marriage, number one pillar, do you know we have had now the foundation?
Yes.
We have the walls about learning and covering. You learn, as Gabriel was saying, he's learning, his wife. We are learning also. Even at my age, I'm also learning. Then now, there are pillars. Pillars that hold our marriage. Number one, commitment. Hey, you have to be committed there. If you have product, you are working on it in total commitment. Commitment makes our marriages work. I'm fully and totally committed. He's fully and totally committed in every area. Number two pillar, it is involvement. You be involved in every activity. Now, also another pillar is be supportive. Whatever I've started, whatever you have started, I support you. You know, you see this circle. I'm very much committed in whatever we are doing and also working out my marriage to work. If it is covering, I'm covering you. I'm covering everything that belongs to us. Now I am not I. Then involving, I was thinking here when our brother pastor was saying, and I could recall this of a family in the Bible. Their family member was sick, and then they went to seek help to Jesus. They were 4 men, and now I could see this is what a family could be based on: involvement, commitment, and support, so that you do everything that will bring what now you reap in this family. When they went to seek help, do you know, they met that, oh, no way to go. They climbed up, they broke the roof, they dropped the man down.
To the feet of Jesus Christ.
Yes. Yeah. What do you see that? That is the family union and unity. If we go to that area, we cannot stay there and say we are single. What now brings this singleness? It is when the man don't stand in his possession and pray his Lord. It is when the woman don't stand at her possession. I'm a woman. This is my possession in this family that I work out. And this is my Lord to pray. Am I committed? Am I giving my best? That when one of them is relaxed, does not pray his or her Lord in the family, that is where you meet a man saying, I am single because this one is not even helping me. I'm tired, I'm less stressed, I feel. Even some ladies feel, oh no, I'm giving all. I'm pushing alone. That is where we feel we are single.
That's it. What do you think about this concept? I'm going to give you a story from the Bible, where a story is told of a man who had to wait, was it 14 years to get the wife that he needed? Jacob, yes, that's the story that I want to fish out. See, God was given the woman who he essentially did not want. And I went back to the father of the girls and told him, it is not the woman that I wanted. But I married her. So I got to work for 14 years again for me to get the woman that I wanted. James, if you listen to that particular story, I don't know whether it's a conflict or whatever it is that we're saying right now. That you have to get what you want. And I don't know, Pastor Gishu, you're going to come and comment on that story. That first you're going to get what you want. That the product supersedes your contribution. Because in majority of relationships, if the kids are not there, then you will see majority of them end up in divorce. But despite whatever it is that you're talking about, a product has to be there. So on that particular issue, can we find one purpose for marriage? One purpose. One. That you're saying, you see this one purpose, and if I'm going to tell you what it is, then every other thing that you're saying is going to be second to the purpose of marriage. Like once you know what the purpose is, either from a social perspective or a religious perspective, that the only reason we marry is this, then majority of people are going to stop feeling single.
Yeah, I love foundations, and it's good that you brought in that story as well. But I want to take you back before that story.
Naza?
You know, God created man, and the first thing that he gave man was not the wife. Genesis 2:5, they articulate God created work first, an assignment for man to execute. In fact, the challenge I've also seen in so many of the married couples is, if you find a man who do not have an understanding of their life purpose as a man, what does the wife come to help you? As Pastor Lowe said, that he's a suitable helper. He's helping what?
I see that now.
He's helping what?
I see that now.
and that's the foundation there.
Yeah.
If there's no clarity and convictions of your purpose, and I want to talk about man here now. Yes. I will remove first of all the wife, the man into the scene. If the man is directionless, doesn't have conviction on what they start for in terms of their life assignment, automatically the wife will be lost. And it's because man, and Pastor Samuel said in the beginning, it's actually man who lives. You know why? Why it's man who lives is because man symbolically is the seed. The boy child is a seed. And in Genesis 1 during creation, how God propagated in vegetation. If you wanted to have more mango trees, he gave seeds to every species during creation. Now in the humanity, of course, he was himself God as a seed, and that's what created man, and man is the seed. Now we all know, if you have a mango tree, when the mango fruit is ripe, that for the seed itself to come out, it has to be separated from the tree, fall down and be planted to germinate, to create another tree. And I want you to take that symbolically. And that's why we have a problem. So a man is a seed, a man is a foundation. So, and therefore a man has to separate from, you have to be kind of separate either from your mother, of course that's what the Bible says, from your parents, from your mother and father, so that you create another ecosystem to propagate the lineage of that species. Now apparently we have men who have never moved. Number two, we have men who don't have understanding of their life assignment, and therefore the wife doesn't know what to support. Yes. That suitable helper doesn't know. They get confused. So, and I think that's why I always call upon men first to kind of start on their way, first of all, to be clear of themselves. Because when you are whole means you are complete. Yes. You understand your purpose as a man even before marriage. You understand your purpose. You understand your assignment on earth. Even the kind of a lady you'll be looking for, the conversation will be around that. Because this lady is coming to help you fulfill God's assignment upon your life. But are you clear with it? Now you talk about Jacob, of course. That's a good thing, because today I think I was talking to another group where I was telling them, don't invite me to, I don't know, fundraising for dowry and the wedding. And I look controversial. And I was saying, wait a minute. So I take you for dowry. I've gone for dowries where if the person who is paying the dowry contribute almost 2%. Because it's all of us come and give you our money.
Yeah, you know.
In fact, you don't feel the sacrifice. Yeah. That which you've not, and God has given an analogy when Christ is the head of the church, he gives that as an analogy of the family, as a husband. So what is the cost you've paid? And here I don't want to talk about endorsing the issue of the dowries and all that. I mean, there's a whole conversation around that. But if there's something that you're not willing to sacrifice, including dying for, that's why a seed have to die to germinate. That's why God had to put man to sleep, to extract the leaf, to create a woman. That's a death aspect. Apparently we have men who don't want to sacrifice on anything. So you want free things, I want to do a wedding, I call guys, they changia. In fact, I contributed almost nothing, and I celebrate. Let me tell you, that relationship is already on a wrong foundation. Because I better give 20 bob. I better do a wedding of 1,000 bob. I'm I'm not appealing to anybody here. I'm not I'm not a banner. I'm not an advert. Okay? But I feel the sacrifice. Do you know what? That which you sacrifice, love literally, you can't force it. Because when you sacrifice something, you have kind of a sense of, this is mine. And even when things go wrong down the line, you're willing to stay on. But if you never sacrifice anything, let me tell you, it's just social, it's just a chaff and blow it with a weed like this, and it disappears. So I like what Jacob did, of course. There's a sense of sacrifice and commitment towards that cause. But in that story, of course, there's God's agenda also, because God was propagating a species of the Messiah. So there's another divine angle there where God is trying to build a storyline and a generation that will later come to birth Jesus himself. So there's a whole another divine order there. So, but there's an aspect of that. What are you really sacrificing for in your relationship? So I wanted just to pack the ladies first and talk about man. I think for me, I see more of work we need to do more on the men than actually on the ladies.
Yes. Pretty much. I'm going to come back to you. There's another aspect to that as well. Pastor Gishuhe. For marriages to succeed, it is an enterprise. We keep on saying it's run like a business. That all the other areas have to tick, all keep on improving. At least that's the foundation that you're studying. You're going to keep on growing and improving as you get better. Like what James says, if you marry a 30 with a 25-year lady, that's 55 years of history. You can't be an expert with that in 3 years or 2 years' time. It's going to keep on improving. There's another aspect that has come up in the modern times when it comes to marriage. Finances. And that's why majority of women will complain. That's why they feel single. You see, in the African aspect, or in whatever aspect, we're told that the role of a man and a woman in marriage are completely different. That no one can do the other. Where the woman is acting as the provider, the woman is going to feel alone in that relationship. Where the woman is acting as the protector, then the woman is going to start looking somewhere else where she would fit the description of a woman in a marriage. Now, we're in that era where we are celebrating gender equality. And it's a big thing. It's a big thing, Pastor Gichu. It's a big thing. Gender equality. And then comes to marriage. Do you know what they say? Nowadays, it's 50-50. But Pastor Gichu, how is it going to be 50-50 when we do know very well that a woman has her responsibilities, a man has his responsibilities in this relationship? It can't be 50-50, especially when it comes to issues of finance. Because when it's 50-50, then the woman will feel, even if I earn more, you got to give in 50. I also give 50, all right? When it comes to taking care of these children, you're going to give 50%, I got to give 50%. So, in a scenario where we want to assume the natural setup of a relationship, where the responsibilities, when you look at it from a natural angle, are never going to be 50-50, then one starts feeling single. You should be doing this, you're not doing it. You should be giving money, you're not giving money. Or, I am the one who's giving this money, when in reality I should not. Or I should be giving 50-50, but it's not. Let's address that.
Yeah, that's a sensitive area, an area we would call Swaranyeti, the area of finances. But I want to start by saying that even before we talk about equality, we are coming from a place where the girl child has been protected a lot, and now we have had an issue with the boy child, which is what we are trying to cover. But these daughters that we have taken care of, that we have taken to school, that we have coached, they need to get married. And the husbands that are available are this boy child that we neglected, that we are now trying to wake up to at this moment. That poses part of the challenge. I do not want to talk about 50-50 in marriage. I want to look at it, of course there are defined responsibilities. For instance, the husband, some of his primary duties include providing for the family, protecting the family. So those are fall squarely on the docket of the husband. But even having said that, because you have gotten a suitable helper, like in my particular case, when we got married, it is my wife that was working. and she supported me.
Oh yeah?
In actual fact, she used to bring her whole package salary, and then she would ask for it from me.
Oh yeah?
Of course, later on, God, by His grace, turned the tables around.
Yes.
But I'm saying that kind of understanding is good. I respect her for that, because that time, the situation was like that. If you come with an attitude of 50-50, then that is not, it is like the transaction we were talking about, or a contract. But this is supposed to be a union that is based on love. Yes, it is not just basically driven by love. My brother talked about wisdom. But let me tell you this. When we talk of love, we can give it 3 basic categories. There is what they call in Greek eros. This is the romantic love, which is huge in relationships. But the problem with eros, the romantic love, is that it fluctuates. Today you feel so strongly about somebody you can't even sleep. But then tomorrow you feel so low because they did something bad. Then there is the brother love that we have between me and you and my brothers. That is called philia. Then we have agape, the love of God. When agape, the love of God, is at the center of it, agape is about sacrifice. Agape will cause you to go the extra mile for your spouse, realizing very well that you are doing it for the good of the family and that it is a joint effort. Therefore, we don't approach it. If you approach it as a transaction, tables can turn, and now you'll be the one on the receiving end. My take is that we should all look at it as though we need to do it 100%. I can do it for him. If he's not in a position, I can do it for her.
Yes.
I will not count how many times I've done this because I love her. And when it's like that, you'll see God giving you synergy to be able to do more within a shorter period of time. But it is not good to approach it in terms of like a contract. I heard you talking about a product. I suppose we are not talking about the lady as a product, because it would be very bad for us to see our sister, our wives as a sexual object or as a product. I even had a friend of mine, I won't mention him, his name on live TV, but one time we were coming from a visit and our families came to meet us, and I asked him, your wife didn't come? You have talked about your children. And then he told me, in my culture, when I talk about children, that includes my wife. And I said, my God, I mean, she's not an object, she's not your child, she's your partner. And you need to treat her with love and respect. So it is not a transaction of 50-50. It is like, let me give you a brief example. We have Mount Rogonot here as you go to Nakuru. And there's a huge crater on Mount Rogonot. Now, you, Simba, may be a better long jumper than myself because I'm heavier than you. But the distance between one edge to the other is about 2 kilometers. So even if you can jump 20 meters and I can only jump 2 meters, when the area to be jumped is 2 kilometers, both of us will fail desperately. Do you understand? So you cannot pride yourself and say, me, I can jump 20, but we need to jump 2 kilometers. We need God from this edge to the other edge. And that is it with marriage. You need one another. It is not that I have to do 20% and you 80%. It is our responsibility and we will get there as one.
Pretty much. Guess what? We have 5 minutes left. I want to give you 2 minutes. And Pastor Rose, I'm going to come and give you 2 minutes. Feeling single means that there's something that should be done which is not getting done. On that particular aspect of responsibility yet. Is it about 50-50, 2 minutes?
I also don't believe on 50-50.
Yes.
I believe in 100-100. So you bring in 100, I'm bringing 100. It's not a 50-50.
It's going to be 100 at one point.
Would be,
yes.
If, and this is the context, just put it practically.
Yes.
So if, let's say, we are paying rent, 50,000. So you're saying I bring 25, you bring 25. If I was earning 500,000, why am I taking the other 575? I'm getting the analogy there. It means we should combine effort and build that as a pool, as an energy, a kind of a synergy for our common good. We say two can never work together if they are not in agreement. That's also a verse in the Bible. So, but because of the lack of agreement, what happens is a husband or a wife is keeping some circulate accounts. My wife had access to all my accounts, including actually my PIN, M-Pesa PIN or whatever. She can access it. I don't have to give her the PIN. She knows it.
You guys, I hope you're listening.
So the thing is, this aspect of being insecure, and I know there are people who are told even during some, when you're getting to marriage, no, keep yourself an account somewhere, which is just at a lock and key, that in case human... Now what happens is, what you feed grows.
Yes.
If you feed insecurity, if you feed that sense of mistrust, that one day my husband might, or my wife might, if you start feeding that, automatically it's going to go.
It's going to go.
Now, when your spouse discover that later,
yes,
it becomes very hard to reconcile, because there's a question which is very dangerous in every relationship. If you discover one fault, there is always $1 billion question. What else do I not know? No, don't give the devil a foothold.
That's it. Pretty much. Pastor Rose, clear this conversation this morning. I can call you back again. I've not even touched on how to resolve disputes. That's going to make somebody feel like you're locked up. I have to call you back again. 2 minutes. That particular area for responsibility, as somebody who's had a long relationship and marriage, Pastor Rose, is it ever going to be 50-50?
Oh no, I echo the words of Gabriel.
Yes.
We cannot go 50-50, because if I'm sacrificing, I'm committed fully. So it is full to full. Only 100%. And now, to those now, before we wind up, I came with a question, and it is good even now to just to touch it kidogo,
yes,
that of those that now are feeling they are single and they are married, that even as we go home and we shall come back, yes, to bring resolutions, that there is still time to live a happy marriage. If look the place where now the loophole,
yes,
Gabriel has said,
yes,
because we said last time, don't allow the enemy an inch, he will enter a mile. To those that he has entered a mile now, there is still a way to go back, of reconciling again, forgiving one another where you failed. If it was in infidelity, you are cheated like he has said, and you have discovered. Now bring things together. Go back, as I wind up, to the drawing board.
That's it, pretty much. Guess what, Gabriel, Pastor Rose, Pastor Gishui, guess what, I'll call you back again. We need like 2 hours then to just table these conversations on exactly what you need to know about marriage for those who are feeling single and married. You know what Gabriel said? And Pastor Gishui, the purpose is not children or the product. That's it. Like, that's my bigger takeaway. Like, it's gotta be about the purpose, not about the product. So focus on the purpose as opposed to the product. So probably, as from today, you will not be feeling single, but married. Guess what? We take a tiny breather right here on the Morning Drift. Once we come back, another conversation that is essentially away from feeling single and married. Let's talk to you about how you can manage your debt once we come back.
Today we are hosting the RUTO Foundation as they do a food distribution to the community. The community involves people from Huruma. Huruma is where we have the home for the aged. So quite a population from the home are getting the gift packs. Most of our children come from Githogoro and Huruma. These are informal settlements. Honestly, these parents have not been working. The number of children that will come to me, even the ones who are not in school, and tell me, Mwalimu, we have not fed for 3-4 days, is quite huge. So this will go a long way. A family that has not fed for 3 days, they will at least get a meal. We also thank RUTO. This is the second time that you're coming, and it always makes a difference. It always makes a difference.
Thank you for your help. Together, we are changing lives.
Realize your home ownership dream by investing in Brookvale Tuala, a magnificent prime residential property located in Ongata Rongai. Brookvale Tuala by Safaricom Investment Cooperative overlooks the majestic Ngong Hills and lies only 24 kilometers from Nairobi CBD. The project boasts of well-serviced plots with a perimeter wall, graded roads and a borehole. 50 by 100 plots are going for 1.4 million shillings with a flexible payment plan of up to 6 months. To book your plot, call 0729 121212 today. Safaricom Investment Cooperative, the investment partner of choice.
Are you an SME looking for a media partner? Look no more, as Lookuptv got you covered for all your visibility and marketing needs. We at Lookuptv understand your business needs and want to work with you on your marketing journey, giving you solutions that will take you to the next level. Call us today on 0707 572 358 or send an email to sales@lookuptv.co.ke and kickstart this amazing journey. Welcome to Lookuptv, your official SME media partner.
Infinity Industrial Park is one of the largest private industrial parks located along Eastern Bypass, Nairobi, which provides modern infrastructure for smooth operations for industries and business enterprises. Infinity Industrial Park offers world-class amenities and facilities with wide roads, a police station, a power substation, fire station, public transport stage, hospital, and shopping mall. In addition, Infinity Industrial Park also offers CCTV cameras, 24-hour private armed security patrol, sewer, water, fiber optic cable, and 3-phase power connection, added to public utility, canteen, and dining areas. Sail on the golden opportunity to invest in Infinity Industrial Park fully serviced warehouses at a special price of 3,569 Kenyan shillings per square foot. For more inquiries, visit our website infinityindustrialpark.com.
Hi, and welcome to Tujenge Home. Your #1 show when it comes to all things architecture, real estate, property development, interior design. You get it right here on Tujenge Home. When the food is ready.
You want to serve them?
Dinner is served. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go.
Kipindi ni ukulima ni mali na manjoro. Kumbuka hapa ndipo unajifunza mambo mengi kuhusu ukulima. Kilimo ni uti wa mgongo wa nchi, na ukiwa na njoro unajifunza. Kumbuka, angalia mwenyewe. Tunakuambia ukitaka kujua tips za ukulima, ungana na sisi kwenye Lookuptv. Every Sunday unatukuta pale saa 10, tunakuonesha kuhusu ukulima. Ukulima wa mimea, ukulima wa ng'ombe, ukulima wa kuku, ukulima wa mbuzi na yote ambayo yanahusiana na ukulima. Kumbuka nini? Kipindi ni ukulima ni mali.
Praise the Lord and Bwana Yesu asifiwe sana. My name is Pastor Joseph. I'm from a ministry called Reconcilers World. God gives strength to the weary. I am, Jesus is speaking. He says, I am the door. Then he says, anyone who enters in through me will be saved. The Lord is my shepherd or shepherd. Then he says, I will always have everything I need. God desires to guide you. He's telling you that this day, don't just trust the Lord, but he's telling you, trust the Lord widely.
Well, Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. My name is Simba Kiage. Thank you very much for taking your time to still be with us this morning. There's just a lot that we're going to look at, but for the next couple minutes, let's talk about debt. But not from a scary perspective. We're going to talk about debt, understanding debt, and essentially how to manage your debt. It's a conversations that I normally love because indeed every other person, whether you run a business as an individual or any other person thinking about investments, then the question of debt becomes really integral in understanding where you are. All right, joining us this morning then to talk about this particular subject is Dr. Clara Asuba, Clear Age Investments. Dr. Clara, how are you doing?
I'm very well. I'm fine this morning.
Happy to have you around.
Thank you very much for having me.
Here's what I talk about when it comes to debt.
Yes.
From a personal level, it's a good thing that we start from there. Yeah. They say that debt is not bad. That you're gonna understand what is bad debt and good debt, either from a personal perspective or a business perspective. Let's begin from there. What is good debt? What is bad debt?
Literally, debt is something under the current economic conditions, is something you can actually say is bad. But in a way to make debt look like something nice, we have come up as financial advisors, economists, with good debt and bad debt. But debt is debt because you owe someone. Now, when we're talking about good debt, is debt that you can manage to pay on time within the schedules and you have enough income to pay.
Yes.
Bad debt is debt that now weighs you down. You're not able to pay it on time. You don't have the finances. It stresses you. Now, that is what I would call bad debt. But there is no good and bad debt. Debt is debt. You owe someone, you owe something.
That's it.
That's the bottom line.
So debt is debt.
Yes.
There's nothing like good debt. Or...
There's no good debt.
I like the way you started. Yes. Is there sustainable debt then?
Yes, there is sustainable debt.
Yes.
And sustainable debt is debt that you have you have the ability to run with it over a period of time.
Yes.
Yeah. If you're able to say run your business on debt, or if you're in importations, for instance, you're taking invoice discounting from maybe a bank and you're able to pay it off and build your life, that is sustainable. But if you're not able to do it and manage it, then that is not sustainable.
That's not sustainable.
Yes.
Guess what they say? Let's start with this statement.
Yes.
So obviously whether it's true or false.
Yes.
And that's exactly what majority of people get introduced to debt.
Yes.
They say that indeed, for any person who wants to grow,
yes,
for any business that wants to grow,
yes,
then debt has to be a conversation that you need to have. Is it true that if I want to grow, if a business wants to grow and expand, then you have to come to terms with the question of debt?
That is a lie, because you don't need debt to start a business. You don't need debt to run a business.
Yes.
Yeah, business is about your understanding and you meeting the need that is in society. And meeting a need does not necessarily mean you need resources and finances. Take, for instance, if you want to supply, say, coffee, it's easy for you to go to a coffee farmer, a coffee producer, talk to them, ask them to give you the product, write a contract, and talk to the buyer, tell them that once I deliver, you should pay me so that I pay the person that is supplying to me. In that manner now, you don't need to borrow in order for you to acquire the product that you're going to sell to the consumer.
Yes.
You get? So anytime someone comes to tell you that you need debt for you to start a business, for you to run your business, that is a misconception.
Yes.
Yes, you should run your business as much as possible away from debt.
Does it?
Because it keeps you afloat.
Yes.
In spite of the economic conditions and harsh conditions of our financial status.
Are you gonna be fighting with people who say this? That tell me any business that you know that is big. Tell me any company that you know that is big in the whole world. Even the top 20 businesses that have been covered in Forbes. Tell me any business that essentially did not incur debt in their growth strategy. Because I'm saying this because you have a financial analyst or coaches will tell you that yes, you need to incur debt if you essentially need to grow.
I will be fighting with them because you see, for that top 40 Forbes company to be in debt, you need to understand their background. For example, they don't take debt because they need it. They take debt because it gives them advantage.
I see that.
Yes. So their companies, the big companies, use debt for tax advantages, for market entry advantages, for many other advantages. In fact, for some of them, debt is a CSR. But for you, you're not doing any CSR. You're not entering a new market, you're not waiving any tax, you're borrowing, and even what you're borrowing is going to be taxed. So when you don't understand the essence of debt, you may say, every company, every large company has debt, so I must also have debt. But your debt is not an advantage. It is a disadvantage to you because it makes you pay more interest and more taxes simply because you have it in your system.
That's it.
Yes.
As a business journalist, it's the very first time I've met a financial analyst who's saying, well, that debt is not necessarily a good thing.
Yes.
Let me then go to where the conversation begins from this morning in terms of where we are talking about today. And if you look at essentially conversations around debt and the debt management strategies, we're going to talk about areas in which now, for those of you who are already in debt, then how do you therefore begin to manage this debt? And that's why I want then Dr. Clara to come in at this particular time and start talking to us about, now, good, you've taken debt.
Yes.
Effective debt management strategies. Let's begin with a business. You've taken debt.
Yes.
Maybe they never met you to look at their businesses and say, well, do not go into debt. There are different ways in which you can actually start to grow your business. You're in debt and you want to manage this debt.
Yes.
Are there effective strategies for a small business first that they're going to use today to start saying that we are managing our debt effectively?
Now, I'll take you back. Sometimes debt is not something that you take intentionally. Take, for instance, you may be a partner with someone in a company, and the person decides to withdraw and demand that you pay back their shares in cash instantly. Otherwise, the company is collapsing. So what you do, you will be forced to take debt to pay him off just to keep the company afloat and running. Now, in that instance, it was not your desire to take the debt. You see? So there are circumstances that make people get into debt. It's not like everybody gets into debt because they want to. And that is why there are measures that help you manage the debt and how to get out of those debts. Now, the most important thing that I've realized about the different people I've worked with in their journey of debt, it is very hard for someone who is in debt to actually sit down and put down the amount of debt that they owe. Because you see, debt is almost like a kind of enslavement. You don't want to really think about what you owe people. You don't want to really think about how much it is, but you want to keep paying and moving forward. And most of what happens is that you borrow more to cover up for what is already accumulated. So the first step is for you to have a meeting with yourself and sit down and outline every debt that you have and the interest that is upon that debt, and number 3, the amount of time you think you can be able to complete the payment of each debt.
Yes.
That's the first thing.
That's the first one, isn't it?
Yes.
But there's a particular question here that I want you to also talk about. And I got this particular question. And as a business journalist, I also run into those conversations every time we're talking about debt.
Yes.
There's now a new strategy in debt management,
yes,
which is essentially called debt consolidation. Dr. Clara, here's the thing.
Yes.
You might have, as an individual,
yes,
picked debt in different places as
yes,
you're trying then to run away from this debt question,
yes,
and due debt.
Yes.
And then you find at one particular point you have debt from maybe 6 creditors.
Yes.
And then the analyst was saying,
yes,
you see, paying this debt at different interest rates to each of the people that you owe is not a good business decision. So what you do, get your debt bought by one person, then pay this one person. What do you stand?
Now, consolidation of debt does not necessarily mean you've reduced the debt, and also it does not mean that you're paying less interest. You see, when you're talking about debt, it has to be on a case-to-case basis.
Yes.
I, as a consultant, for one, if I'm analyzing a case of someone who has debt, I would like to know each debt, each item, if it was a mortgage, a car loan, and maybe you have other maybe education loans. I'd like to see each debt that you're carrying. How much interest are you paying on each debt? What is the balance and what is the period? Because ideally, sometimes consolidating actually increases the amount that you're going to pay in the long run. Yes, you will have one debt, but it becomes more expensive than, say, you decide, let me finish the education loan first, or the debt on education. The interest may be at 28%, and it's only 200,000. So eliminate the 28% one first. Then move to the next one, which is probably at 17%. Mortgages mainly go between 12 to 14%. And that is something you can always negotiate and carry over a long period of time. So the component of how long is your debt entitled to you to pay, and number 2, the interest rate on the debt and the quantity of the debt determine how you pay. Consolidating might actually bring you into a situation where all the debt becomes a normal debt and you have to pay it at around 18 to 21%.
Yes.
Now, 21% for 5 years is not equivalent to paying, say, the 200,000 in 6 months. You eliminate 28%, calm down, pay maybe the one for the car is in maybe 2 years, the balance is in 2 years, you pay it at 18%, then you remain with only one debt that is at 12% because it's a mortgage. So you see, cumulatively, you'll have paid less interest than when you consolidate and pay all of them at 21, 22% for
yes,
a period of 6-5 years. Yes.
Pretty much. Other areas that I really want us to talk about this morning
yes,
as well is that the people you like to say in the conversation
yes,
of debt and debt management, I, as Clara, would advise you to declare bankruptcy. When it gets to that level, yes, Dr. Clara,
yes,
and the people say, well, it's going to be a bit good for you if you go that direction.
yes.
We think so. As your financial advisor or analyst, who is this person you would advise to declare bankruptcy? Who's this business that you're going to look at their books and say, hey, unsurmountable, could you please declare bankruptcy?
You declare bankruptcy, especially if the debt that you carry is affecting people who are not involved in the debt. Now, bankruptcy helps your family. This is from a business perspective. It helps your family, yeah, it helps other parties in your organization,
yes,
who may not necessarily need to go through the problem. Because when you declare bankruptcy, it simply means everything that is on your name is supposed to be picked anything, your vehicle, if it's under your name, it should be used to pay for the debt. Everything. But now you declare bankruptcy just to make sure that let everything that is on me, Dr. Clara, be used to pay the debt, and the remainder of the debt should not affect the condition of my family members. For instance, your wife may be running a different business. She may be having a vehicle. If you don't declare bankruptcy, the association between you and your wife may create a problem. Now, when you declare bankruptcy, it simply means now the debt that you owe is no longer something that you're being forced to pay. You get? It gives you a breather in a way, and it gives you time now to maybe rebuild yourself or ask for different ways to manage the debt. And then someone else can come in and buy the company, buy the debt, and then you're scot-free when you declare bankruptcy. But if you do not declare bankruptcy, it is between you and the lender. Whatever he demands, if it's 200 million that you need to pay, you will go and sell your house, sell off even close all your children's insurance policies just to pay off the debt. But when you get to a point and you feel like, my family members, I need to just create a good landing for the people who matter to me, the best thing is you declare bankruptcy, let them sell what they have to sell, and even the company can be sold together with its assets to settle your debt. And that way you have helped in a way, yes.
Debt as an asset.
Yes.
So one of those conversations a majority of people and businesses do not really understand. When somebody approaches you, Dr. Clara, and says that, I want to use my debt as an asset, what are those instances? I know you're not pro-debt. What are those instances when you're going to say, oh yeah, let's take debt, this is going to be an asset for you?
There's a kind of business that could actually say they're using debt as an asset. I don't advocate for debt. If you can do it cash, if you can build yourself and go cash, it is the best thing that you can do for yourself. But for instance, in supplies or importations, where there's documentation and you're borrowing, say, from a bank, you're given letters of credit, you do invoice discounting, meaning it is not your money. The moment you supply the goods, say you're supplying to a motor dealer or something, you're importing parts, you get the invoice discounting, import the items, the bank pays, you deliver the items, the client pays to the bank takes their debt, and you remain with your the interest or the profit that you have made. That, I would say, is the only scenario in which I would say, yeah, now that debt as an asset could work. You have borrowed, it has helped you make profit, which is going to help your life. Now, that is what I call debt as an asset. But as long as the debt has a tendency to be affected by inflation, it has a tendency to be affected by, say, a problem in your business.
Yes.
If you don't have customers or something happens in your business and the debt will affect you, then at that point, debt has never been an asset at all.
That's it.
Yes.
Pretty much. Now, let's also handle this particular question.
Yes.
In investments, you're always told, look at the rate of inflation at that particular time. Anything above inflation is good for you. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Depending on the time, they also promise your return on investment.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
For those people looking into debt, could be the solution now.
Yes.
You've got a tender, you've got to go get some money, go in, reap your benefits, get out.
Yes.
Are there numbers in terms of the interest of this debt that you're accruing that are already in the business, where you're told if it's debt, it's gotta be here, cannot be above this percentage? Is there an industry number? The way we know in investments, get anything above inflation, you're fine.
In terms of debt, you see, you cannot control debt and say that this debt, if it's at 18%, it will be okay for me in terms of I'm paying at 18% interest, so it will be okay. Notice, inflation does not move alongside debt.
Yes.
The people who took mortgages 3 years ago at, say, 13%, when inflation rises, the debt interest also rises. It's automatic. So the only things that can remain constant is if you're operating in cash, and now, even right now, that's a conversation maybe for another day. The currency in which you're operating now also matters. You get? Yeah. When we talk of business and finance, things are very dynamic.
Yes.
So you can't say that the rate at which the debt has been borrowed can be advantageous. When inflation comes into play, inflation goes up, debt goes. Inflation is good, debt works for you. So it is at par. At any one time, it will always affect your business at a constant. No matter the rate at which you borrowed will remain the same. Yes. And you see, when you go, say, to banks, when you borrow, sometimes they'll tell you, we've increased by, or we've not increased, it's still 14%. But look at the fine print. You'll always find the administration costs has increased by an extra 2%. Insurance has increased by an extra 1%. So when you put it together, you are still at 21%, and yet the cost is 14%.
Just 14%.
Yes. So the fine print in everything now tells you that debt, it's not like something you should play around with in terms of it will be advantageous after some time in case inflation goes up. No. Yeah.
Pretty much. Want us to clear like this then?
Yes.
A lot of individuals and businesses were listening to you this morning.
Yes.
In this conversation for debt and debt management,
yes,
what business should look for clear age investments today? What individual should look for clear age investments today?
Businesses that are in debt and currently you're not able to stay afloat in business, and you need to find a strategy of clearing your debts. And if you're an individual, maybe you've borrowed from apps, you've borrowed here and there, and you need a strategy of getting out of debt, we are able to walk you through because we have strategies. Some debts are negotiable, some debts are... There are different ways we work through those processes. Some debts actually, institutions may refuse to give you more time, but when you get someone to intervene for you, you're able to get certain things in place until you're able to clear your debts. Because as I said earlier, every individual, every organization, your debt situation is unique. You can't get a blanket system of getting out of debt unless we analyze and see this is the kind of debt you have, which are the long-term debts, short-term debts, what interest rates are there, what is the quantity of debt. Once we have a sitting with you and we understand your debt situation, then we can help you start walking out of them one after the other. That's what we'll do for you.
What kind of journey? Take a minute to answer this.
Yes.
What kind of a journey do you work with a small business trying to understand how to navigate the debt environment? This has been the criticism.
Yes.
That yes, there are solutions like what you're offering that are clear age investments.
Yes.
But it's a one-stop shop. Come in, get out. What is your unique journey with a small business?
Now, with a small business, one, we help you first of all reactivate your business. As I don't know if I mentioned it, but I'm a business and financial consultant.
Yes.
I have studied both fields. So in terms of business, I have to check your business and know how much can you make out of it and how much can we move into the clearance of your debt.
Yes.
Then number two, you have to give us permission as a business person, because now we make rules because we are working with you and we want to make sure we achieve it. So we will give you conditions. Every week you have to bank this amount to clear your debt, because you see, it's not a one-stop shop. Yeah, many consultants do that. You come, we sit, I tell you this and this and this, and then
that's it.
That's it. But at Clear Edge, that's not what we do. We work with you. You come with your issue, we analyze it, then we go deeper into your business. What do you do? Where are your profits? Because sometimes you're in debt because your business is not even profitable. how can you change? What can you introduce that will give you enough income to help you clear your debt? Because even individuals, the reason why you're in debt as an individual, borrowing from apps, is because maybe your income is not sufficient to sustain your lifestyle. So we also look at your lifestyle, and we give you measures that you, if you agree with us and you put them into play in a short or some time, or some span of time, you'll be able to get out of it.
Pretty much. Yes. Dr. Clara Suba, thank you very much for coming by.
Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure. Guess what? For those who are thinking about the debt question, either on a personal level or a business level, then you do know what to do. Look for them, Clear Edge Investments, and she's saying she's going to walk the journey with you. Take away, reactivate your business. We take a tiny breather right here on the Morning Drift. Once we come back, I'll be taking you to another conversation this morning. Let's talk about your skin care or health, if you may, right here on the Morning Drift. Even want to advise you how.
There is a biblical quotation that says, whoever gives to an orphan lends to God. Today was a great day for us. We have received and hosted a wonderful and great team from Tatua Tatu who have come to make a day brighter for these kids and for our beneficiaries.
I thank you, Tatua number 3, for coming. May God bless you, and the gates of Rafiki are ever open, and you are welcome and welcome again.
Infinity Industrial Park is one of the largest private industrial parks located along Eastern Bypass, Nairobi, which provides modern infrastructure for smooth operations for industries and business enterprises. Infinity Industrial Park offers world-class amenities and facilities with wide roads, a police station, a power substation, fire station, public transport stage, hospital, and shopping mall. In addition, Infinity Industrial Park also offers CCTV cameras, 24-hour private armed security patrol, sewer, water, fiber optic cable, and 3-phase power connection, added to public utility, canteen, and dining areas. Sail on the golden opportunity to invest in Infinity Industrial Park fully serviced warehouses at a special price of 3,569 Kenyan shillings per square foot. For more inquiries, visit our website infinityindustrialpark.com.
Are you an SME looking for a media partner? Look no more, as Lookuptv got you covered for all your visibility and marketing needs. We at Lookuptv understand your business needs and want to work with you on your marketing journey, giving you solutions that will take you to the next level. Call us today on 0707 572 358 or send an email to sales@lookuptv.co.ke and kickstart this amazing journey. Welcome to Lookuptv, your official SME media partner.
As the night falls, we come to life to bring you a comprehensive broadcast from the numerous events happening across our 47 counties.
When it breaks, it matters, and each story is important.
If it's Thursday, join me, Nancy Lima, and my able panelists as we break down the law jargons and analyze the Constitution in a way only you can understand.
The news cycle never stops, neither does time. We cover each and every sector and present to you factual and accurate occurrences. This is where facts win the day. Join me,
Nancy Lelima,
Ian Keitani, Tuesday, every Wednesday,
Thursday,
as from 9 p.m. on The Insight, only on Lookuptv.
Hi, and welcome to Tujenge Home. Your number one show when it comes to all things architecture, real estate, property development, interior design. You get it right here on Tujenge Home. When the food is ready.
You want to serve them?
Dinner is served. Yeah. Let's go.
Kipindi ni ukulima ni mali na manjoro. Kumbuka hapa ndipo unajifunza mambo mengi kuhusu ukulima. Kilimo ni uti wa mgongo wa nchi. Na ukiwa na njoro unajifunza. Kumbuka, angalia mwenyewe. Tunakuambia ukitaka kujua tips za ukulima, ungana na sisi kwenye Lookuptv. Every Sunday unatukuta pale saa 10, tunakuonesha kuhusu ukulima. Ukulima wa mimea, ukulima wa ng'ombe, ukulima wa kuku, ukulima wa mbuzi na yote ambayo yanahusiana na ukulima. Kumbuka nini? Kipindi ni ukulima ni mali.
Karibu mtazamaji kwenye kipindi cha jamii na itikadi.
Kaini kitako tuna mengi.
Mapenzi yanapoanza watu huitana bebi na majina mengine matamu, lakini baadaye penzi linapogeuka na kuwa shubiri,
mtu anafikia kwenda kumtafuta mke mwingine.
Itakuwaje?
Yule wa kwake nyumbani labda hajamridhisha.
Ni sawa ama vipi Maliki?
Dadangu, wanaume ni kama maembe.
Huyu ni mwanamume atakuja abadiliki.
Mwanaume mwenye wanawake wengi hata katika uchumba, kwenye ndoa ataendelea. Mtu na tabia yake hawachi. Ile umbo la kike likishaanza, kila kitu kishaanza kuwa mahali pake.
Ningependa kukuona.
Sijaenda mahali ambapo mimi nilisikia mtu ati huyu alikuwa shujaa, alikufa katika mstari wa mbele wa ndoa. Sijawahi sikia mimi.
Get into a learning section. And for all those people who are thinking about their skin care, those people who are wondering what's going on with their skin, I'm going to introduce you to a subject that you might be going through right now as we get into this conversation. Dark spots on your skin. I'm going to give you a minute so that sinks in. Are you patient? Going through that? Good. So today we want to address that. And there are products within the country, or companies within the country, or individuals within the country that have already figured that there's a solution specifically for this. And that's what we're going to get into. And I don't want to eat so much time in this conversation. I want to introduce the guest who's joining us right here, right now, so we can talk about this particular aspect this morning. I'm also going to be a student because I do know a couple of people are going through this. Could be one. She's going to tell me shortly. So let me introduce Domiana Mungangi, who is, I'm going to start who is a melanoma CC brand ambassador. We're going to know who that is and what they want to achieve within the country or in the region. Who is also a skin paramedical esthetician CEO, Skin Soul Aesthetics Clinic. Ooh. All right. How are you doing, Miss Mumendi?
Thank you very much.
Happy to have you around.
Thank you for having me around.
You know what? We're going to start with these titles. You are a melanoma CC brand ambassador.
Yeah.
Who's Melano?
Melano.
Let's start like that.
Melano is a company that they're focused on getting solution for skin condition, which is dark marks. So they've come up with a very nice skin essence moisturizers and masks with pure vitamin C and E that helps to clear marks. Because of course they've gotten they're getting solution, which means there is a problem. So we are getting solutions. The company getting solution for dark spots. Yeah.
Pretty much. I like the way you're saying vitamin C. We're going to get into that because it's a very important aspect of our conversation today.
Yeah.
Let's jump into you being a skin paramedical. Can you talk about that?
I would say I'm a skin paramedical esthetician.
Yes.
So we have done aesthetic medicine, and we treat skin with products, with skincare products, but not just any skincare products, but paramedical products, which they are medical based. The ingredients in the products are a bit higher as compared to cosmetics products. So we prescribe products as compared to doctors, dermatologists who prescribe medicine.
Medication, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, so we prescribe products and aesthetic treatments like laser treatments, chemical peels, facial treatments and stuff to clear spots or any other skin condition.
That's it. All right, the final title, which is going to then take us to our conversation today. You're also the CEO, Skin Soul Clinic. Can you talk about that? What do you do at the clinic?
Yeah, so I'm a founder of Skin Soul Aesthetic Clinic. That we have a dermatologist on board. We have medical practitioners on board also that help us to achieve our goal, which is to give solutions. Skin Soul means skin solutions. So we give solutions to any skin condition. So we've come up together with a medical field that we treat skin conditions that we discovered in the country that we used to do just facials, normal facials, chemical peels. But then we discovered that we have issues that we can solve as estheticians. And if we used to send our clients to different clinics, but then we got one recently, which is here in Lavington, that we have a dermatologist who treats skin condition, like for example vitiligo, eczema, and melasma, which is a bit more. There is other condition which we recently struggling to treat, which is called onchronosis, which is dark mark which comes from post-bleaching condition.
I see.
Yeah. So that's what we do at Skin Soul Aesthetics.
Fantastic. Let's talk about dark marks, and we're going to look at these products that you have here. For anybody who's wondering what these are and what they would like to achieve with them, we're going to talk about them later because I can see a big vitamin C and E on them. Let's talk about dark marks.
Yes.
Who is this suffering from dark marks, and what are these dark marks on the skin?
Dark marks on the skin, we get skin color from melanin. So when your melanin is produced more than it's supposed to, then that's how we end up getting dark marks. And dark marks are caused by sun exposure. When you expose yourself to the sun much, then you will end up getting dark marks. During pregnancy, women would get, because of hormonal imbalance, they would get dark marks. It gives them melasma, which is darker shades of their normal skin tone color. Also, dark marks we would get from using products that they are a bit more, they are not correct to your skin type, or then they leave your skin with marks. Or when you're healing from acne, you would get post-inflammatory marks from the acne. Yeah, so that's how we get marks, or it just melanin being produced more than normal to your skin. Yeah.
I also know people say, well, I get pimples on my skin.
Yes.
And then the pimples then would leave dark marks when they heal.
Yes,
so
yes.
are they also categorized in this
Yes,
area?
yes.
Pretty much.
Yes.
So are you saying that indeed dark marks should not be a thing that people should be talking about on their skin in whatever reason that they got them, that you have a procedure for that?
Yes. If you have dark marks, if you experience you have melasma, which is a dark mark on your skin, then there is a solution. Most people, they don't know we can treat these marks. Some of them they have accepted and chose to live with it.
This is how my skin looks.
Yes. But they should know that there are solutions for these dark marks. We just need to know where to go to, and we are here to help you. But any dark mark in your skin can be treated. Yeah, with aesthetic procedures and products.
Does it?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Let's begin about the let's begin about the products now.
Yes.
And I know that a lot of products that you have here. I'm just going to pick one.
Yes.
I can say this one is on, you're calling it a vitamin C concentrate.
Yes.
Melanon CC.
Yes.
And it's a rich moisturizing cream.
Yes.
We're talking about it being a radiance boost, even skin tone, and spotless skin protector.
Yeah.
What is this product?
This product is a moisturizer.
Yes.
Because in your skin you need a moisturizer to hydrate your skin. And then it's not just a moisturizer, it has pure vitamin C. Pure vitamin C, if you have a dark mark, it works very well with vitamin E.
Yes.
They work together to penetrate to the skin and then clear the dark marks.
Yes.
So this is not just a normal moisturizer, but it's doing extra more to your skin. If you have pigmentation and even skin tone, we are not talking only on the spots, but we are talking about also an even skin tone.
Yes.
You find that your forehead is a bit darker than your cheeks and the rest of your skin. So when you use this moisturizer, you will get your skin evened out. Have you experienced such? You go to Mombasa, then when you're coming back, you're like, my forehead is a bit darker and my cheeks are a bit lighter. Then you're wondering what is happening. Then when you use this moisturizer, like your normal moisturizer every day, then in good time it will even out your skin tone color because it has the pure vitamin C.
That's it. Let's talk about this particular one, and I will tell you some of the concerns that I've really got from people say, well, let your skin be, it'll clear out naturally. Do not put a product on it.
Yeah.
That they fear that because of, and I will tell you what it is,
Yes.
maybe you will dispel it, that some people don't like products because of the chemicals associated with it.
Yes.
Is that a concern that you should carry in this?
It's a concern, but you just need to know what are the active ingredients in this product.
Does it?
Yeah, you don't just need to fear anything. Then now you stay in a place where your self-esteem is down because of how your skin looks like.
Yes.
For you fearing not to try products, you just know to go to the specialist. We are here today. We are doing consultations every day. We are online everywhere. We just need to come and advise you what your skin needs. And before you get to us, when you get to any cosmetic shop, just read the active ingredients in each product. You need to know, at least you have a bit of knowledge on which products am I supposed to use, what type of my skin, a bit of knowledge. Then you don't need to fear, because out here there are good products. Before you get into problems, there are good products which you can get over the counter. If not so, then look for us. We'll do a skin analysis. We'll tell you your type of skin, what conditions or concerns you are seeing you have. Then we'll advise on products to use and how to use. And then we'll work with you. 2 days you feel like my skin is not brightening, my dark spots are not clearing, then we are here. We'll work with you. In 2 weeks, we'll tell you now, wait, because skin has to take its course for its healing to happen. Then we'll work with you. So you don't need to fear not to use products. Not all products, they have bad chemicals, or they have chemicals. No.
You just have to understand the
ingredients. Yes.
Then talk to a professional.
Exactly.
And it's a good thing that you're professional. You can actually tell somebody what ingredients are inside it.
Yes.
And explain to them exactly what that is before they can take the product.
Exactly.
Let's talk about administration of this product. I mean, it's a good thing that you're here. So should I pick this product because I've got an even skin tone? It's a thing that every other person would suffer. I mean, the weathers are changing now.
Yes.
Last week we were talking about the sun. Now we're talking about cold seasons that are coming in.
Yes.
How long do I have to use this product for me to say, well, it's actually working?
So With anything that you use on your skin, you need to give it every 30 days. We get a renewal of our skin. Every 30 days or 2 to 3 weeks, you feel like you want to get a shave because an inch of your hair has come out, an inch of your nails. So every 30 days, your skin will get renewal. So after you start using the product, you give your skin like 30 days for results to happen. It's not like the way we would like quick fix. You want to use the product today,
so the 1 week
in a
and then
week's time
tomorrow.
you want to get results. No, you need to give the skin for its course to change and renew itself. So we need to give ourselves like 3 weeks. 3 weeks when you start using the products.
Yes, pretty much. All right, let's talk about this next product. And but I would like to also talk about it. It's called a Sport Essence.
Yes.
I don't know how different this is, and you keep on describing it, that you're saying it helps clear dark spots and skin blemishes. It can work on all skin types or daily use. And it also got a pure vitamin C concentrate in it.
Yes.
What is a sport?
A sport is whereby it's, let's say you have your color, we're talking about skin.
Yes.
But the specific part of your skin, which is a bit more lighter or darker, just a specific part.
I see that, yeah.
So that is, we will call it just a sport.
Yeah.
So this one is a sport treatment, which it could be dark, it should be darker than your normal skin tone color.
Yes.
So this one we target on where the spots are. Yeah?
Or you apply specifically on where
the spot is. Yes. So this one is concentrated with pure vitamin C and pure vitamin E. Yes.
Pretty much.
So you just apply it to where exactly you have your spots.
Yes.
Probably most of the people, they have their problems around the chin, cheek. So you can, this one you can apply the Sport Essence on the spots specifically.
You know what? I've seen those guys who, when you look at them, instead of below the eye socket here, sort of tell. Did they apply something that changes their color? Is this product for them?
Yes. They can also use on dark circles around the eyes also.
That's
because
it.
It's a spot treatment.
Yes.
So we focus on where you feel like you're much darker. Even some people would have issues on their chest, getting acne on the chest or back, and then after healing they get spots. Then this also can be applied any part of body. It doesn't mean it's supposed to be only applied on the face only. So you can use it any other part of your body where you feel it's much more darker than your normal skin tone color.
That's it. Pretty much. I'm just going to go through this product again because I think we're left with one as well. And now this one is called the Vitamin C Mask. And this is the description that you're giving it. It's deep hydration and gives you an instant glow. It's a facial mask. It is one sheet. Good.
Yes.
It's not just a mask. You're saying that it's a vitamin C mask.
Yes, it's a vitamin C mask. So when you use it, let's say you want to go for a wedding, you're going for, like the way you come here every morning. So you need to try this.
Keep on telling these guys that I need that.
This you need. So when you use this in the morning, your skin will glow pretty much. Like in the morning when I was coming here, because I felt like I needed my skin to glow much more. So I used
it's actually glowing. It is glowing.
So when you use it, and after you use it, you use the moisturizer, then you get instant glow. The secret is it has pure vitamin C, which brightens your skin.
Which brightens your skin. Like that's the active ingredient in the mask. And that's why you say that you really need to understand the ingredients in the products you're getting.
Always.
That's it.
So you check what it is that in this product that will change my type of skin or my concerns.
Pretty much. Now, let's talk about this. And every time we have these conversations about skin and skin care and skin routines, the people are locked out. Men. In this conversation. Ndio wanasema mwanaume ni kuvaa nguo, kujipaka mafuta moja kutoka juu mpaka chini, get out of the house.
But that's not true because your skin is like my skin. You have the same layers of your skin. When you go to the sun, you expose yourself, you get the same pigmentation that I would get. So you just need to take your skin as anyone else. And we've experienced actually many men now, they are coming up and using all these products. In our clinic, we have so many men taking care of their skin because of the type of profession and just a care that you need to take care of your skin. And when you take extra care, like when you're living, we'll give you one of the masks.
Guys,
moisturizer.
Check me out tomorrow.
We'll see we'll see in
Yes.
1 week's time,
Yes.
you're able to see my skin has brightened.
That's it.
So we'll keep doing it. So it doesn't mean you're a man, you're not supposed to take care of your skin.
That is
You
a
should.
routine that every other person
Every
with a
other
skin
person with
is
a
should be
skin.
getting into.
Yes, yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Good. Now, this is something that you touched on, and I want you to now reiterate it because you were touching on it as you were talking about a particular point. There are people say, but that product is not for me. You know?
Yeah.
That my skin type is not essentially for that product. How do you speak to those people wondering, you know, the last time I tried a product, I got this and this and this reaction. How do I know that my skin type is for this particular product? Yes.
So what we do is we have a conversation. We check your skin, and I would tell you your skin type when I see you.
Yes.
Yes, when you come to a clinic, we have a machine that we do a skin test.
Yes.
Yes, and we tell you your skin type, and we tell you your concerns. And when you start using any product, you could get 1, 2, 3 things. It doesn't mean the product is not working pretty much with your skin, but you just need to give it time to settle in. The transformation period, most of people, they don't wait for the product active ingredients to start working. For most of people, it will work smoothly. But if you have other concerns and you start using any product, your skin will react back. Yeah. So what you need to do, you need to work with someone. Keep using the product. If you have acne, then we will give you products for acne.
Yes.
And when you're treating acne, the first 3 weeks, it tends, when you start treatment, it tends to be actually pretty much well. But then it doesn't mean it's reacting. The treatment has to take its course, like it has to be a lot. Then you start cooling down. Yeah. Like for example, when you go to doctors, you're very sick, you go to see a doctor. Then you're giving medication. The following day after doing medication, you feel like you're much more sick.
Does it? It's
Most of
actually
the time
true.
you go back to doctors, and then they will just increase this dosage, or they will just tell you you have to keep doing this. Nothing changes.
Yes.
So with skincare, most of when you're treating stubborn condition like acne, then you have to work with someone
Yes.
so that they keep telling you it's okay the way your skin is behaving.
Does
You
it?
just need to continue using this product.
Does it?
Because it's the type of skin, everything ingredient is working with you. It has to take its course for healing to start happening.
Does it? At this time, let me just give you some of the concerns that I got specifically from a subset of men, and I will give you what the concerns are. I want us to listen to them because I was looking at them. Good. Now, some of the concerns that we got, especially from the people might be wondering essentially what this is. I got a specific concern for irritation, number one. Number two, I also got a concern for inflammation, all right? And number three, which we've actually spoken about, hormonal changes in women. And this is what they said, that I might use that product, and then all of a sudden, I start getting irritation on the skin, or inflammation on my skin, or use it right now, I'm fine, until I get to that time of the month when I'm using it, and my hormonal changes are essentially saying no to this particular product. I know you've worked with this product, and you've essentially drumming them up to any other person who has this particular problem. Is this, at any time, a concern that you've run into where a patient has come in and told you, oh, you know, I started using it, but then, oh, look at my face, it's completely inflamed, or I get irritated when I use it, or I got at that time of the month, and then, boom, it completely reacted with me?
Yeah, we would say the circle of, especially in women, when they're ovulating on with that time of the month, the hormonal changes, then the skin will produce more oil from the within. Yes? So then it is okay for skin to behave like so. It's quite normal. So it doesn't mean now when you use the product, then it costs. Most of the time, clients get confused, like your skin was okay, but that hormonal imbalance happened. If it happens, you just let it be.
Yes.
And then we would recommend on a procedure that will reduce the oil production. And then you continue with the product. It doesn't mean the product now is causing the breakouts and all that. Yes? If irritation happens more, then we normally give it a break. We see, we watch your skin. Then if you're not using this, then how is your skin behaving? Yeah? We keep watching and seeing, does it really mean this is what is making your skin to react? Then we come to a conclusion. If it's yes, we give it a pause. Yes, but basically, when we are giving this, we give these products to our skin which doesn't have any inflammation, any active acne. It's basically meant for someone with spots but not with active acne.
That's
yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Let's not speak to anybody who's looking at this particular product. For this mask, how much is going to cost me if I want it?
If you want to buy this, it's just 350 shillings.
350 shillings,
yes,
isn't it?
yes.
How often am I supposed to use a mask?
You use it twice a week.
Twice a week.
Basically, me, I use it twice a week.
Yes.
Or any other time when I want to go for a function or
Does
I want to look glowy.
Yes.
You can use it every 2 days.
Yes.
But if you don't have any major function, you
Yes.
just use it once a week or twice.
Pretty much. When I spoke about the Spot Essence, the one that is essentially targeting spots, how much does it cost?
It's around 1900.
1900.
1900, yes. This, you use it every morning and evening.
Does it?
When you wash your skin, when it's very clean,
yes.
you apply it to where the spots are.
Yes.
And then you target on the spots. And when you look into the bottle, it has a nozzle and it's covered with silver, which protects the product inside. Because when you expose a pure vitamin C to the sun or to the light, then the concentration goes down.
Does it?
So the way the manufacturers have done the product, they've covered it with silver cover and with a small opening.
Yes.
That protects the product from getting exposure to the sun or light.
Does it?
That keeps it longer until you finish to the last drop of the product.
Does it?
Yes.
Pretty much. Last product. This is the moisturizer.
Yes.
How much would it cost?
It costs 2,500.
Does it?
Yeah.
How long would I use this particular product?
You use morning and evening.
Yes.
And it will stay let's say 3 months, 3 to 4 months.
Yes.
If you don't misuse it.
Does it?
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Good. Now, what is to handle the last part of this conversation? I mean, you've stayed with this product, Ms. Mwangangi. Is there a story or stories that you say, guys, you see, whatever I'm telling you to get here, it works, other than you, because I'm looking at you.
What I would say, when the product came in the country, actually, I used for before we rolled out, I used for 6 months.
Yes.
And of course, every other month I would get spot here and there.
Yes.
I've used the product. It's amazing.
Yes.
I use it every week. Mostly the mask, I love it because I don't have much spots. I just want to keep evening my skin and maintaining my skin tone color, which I use the mask and the moisturizer every single morning. The moisturizer. So myself, I use the products and I preach something that I've done and I'm using it because if I tell you use this, I haven't used it.
Doesn't make sense, does it?
But I've used the product.
Yes, pretty much. All right. Now, for those who want to walk into your clinic, where is it located?
We have 2 branches.
Yes.
One in Lavington, Kingara Road, Kingara Close.
Just down here.
Just down here.
I think I'm going to walk in.
Yeah, you must welcome. Kingara Close,
Yes.
house number 3.
Does it?
In Westlands, we are in Woodville Grove, Brick Court second.
Yes.
Yes.
Pretty much. Take 15 seconds. Why is it important that I visit a person like you who's going to tell me about my skin? 15.
It is very important that you need to go to dietitians and you need to make sure whether they are certified because we have certification. And we will check your skin, work with you until your skin clears. I won't sell you product and then leave you alone. I will open a card for you. I will suggest on different procedures and I will keep telling you, let's do this, let's do this, use these products, come after 2 weeks. I will work with you until your skin is okay. Yeah, and you will keep coming back to me. Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming by.
Guess
what? Hope you were listening. For those who are wondering about what they're going to do with the dark skins or the spot, she's telling you there is a product for you. This particular one here, Melano CC. And guess what? For those who are wondering then what they're going to do before they start using this product, look for them, Skin Soul, all right? On whatever platform they're going to look for them, you're going to find them. By the way, as you walk in, look for her. Let her take you through the process, and then after that, maybe you can come and tell us how the process went. Take us back to the time that you started seeing this particular face here, hopefully, which is going to get better after this. Online and Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. Look for them at Skin Soul, isn't it?
Skin Soul Aesthetic.
That's it.
Clinic.
That's how we end, by the way. Skin Soul Aesthetic_clinic. Look for them. Then let's keep on smiling with better faces as we come close to the end of the day. Goodbye. So let me get out.